Welcome back to the podcast, you stupid son of a bitches. My name's Music. This is Buckfang. We're back. Ha! Stop. Stop it. Stop. Stop. I do it. Stop. 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 Stop.
How y'all doing?
Hi. How you doing?
Today is a special episode where we
Yeah.
go back on everything we've ever said.
Whoa!
He's ever said.
Whoa!
And we decide to interrupt our Godzilla month. That was my special birthday treat.
Hold on. First of all, go fuck yourself. Do not frame like that. I asked you directly if you would want to, and you said yes.
Virgil, zero sugar root beer.
We're not sponsored by them.
I didn't say we were.
I don't give a fuck. You're not promoting someone else's brand for free. The fuck?
They're weird tasting. It's not like their root beer.
That is money that is
It's not bad though.
Flushed away.
It's
you
honestly
want to be such a dick.
pretty sarsaparilla-y.
Why you like this? I'm not paying this, dog. Just promote something free like that. What's wrong? What's wrong with you? Money down the drain.
Well, maybe they'll see our podcast now.
No, they won't.
Then what do you care? It's money that we're never gonna get anyway.
Hey, not with that attitude.
You're the one who just said no, we don't. Oh, whatever. Anyway. The other thing that he lied to you about.
Stop framing it this way. What's wrong with you?
What's wrong with you? It took you so goddamn long to watch this show.
Yeah. So? Who gives a fuck? Watch it now. Better late than never. Be happy.
Me.
Stupid cunt.
Who gives a fuck?
Stupid
You
cunt.
should watch it when I first told you to watch it.
You should be happy I'm watching it now. I could have not watched it in general.
So, Misa here finally decided to, out of nowhere, on his own, watch Mushoku Tensei instead of the next Godzilla movie, which I am happy about that he did it, that he made the leap. But it means that our Godzilla month has now just become a running theme. Every other episode or so, we'll do Godzilla.
Nigga,
we'll just try.
Motherfucker, we did one.
Try.
We did one. We talked about Godzilla once.
Yep.
And we'll start Godzilla again at the beginning of the month. So don't whine, okay?
Sure.
If you want to, okay, we can add an extra Godzilla thing so we can make it a proper month. You stupid bitch, okay?
Believe it when I see it.
Unless I finish free random, we'll talk about that. But that's neither here nor there.
You do realize if you watch Free Run, we will cover that next.
That's up to you. That's not up to me. That's up to you. That's not up to me. That's up to you. That's not up to me. That's up to you. When you finish
Free Run, you're gonna do the same thing you did with Mushoku Tensei. I've got to talk about it.
I can hold off.
Really?
Yes.
How much of Free Run have you watched?
None.
Yeah, that explains why. If you start Free Run, that will change.
No, look. We can talk. No. Look.
Listen to me right now.
No, go fuck yourself.
Hey.
Well, you don't want to be a part of this.
What name does Blonde Bitch go by in this? Dero?
Dero. Oh, I was going to say executive producer.
Producer Dero.
He doesn't. You see that face he's making? He's saying, why are you talking to him? You don't need to involve him in this.
Producer Dero. If he starts Free Run, will he have the same fucking, no, we have to stop whatever Godzilla month to talk about that he had with Mushoku Tensei? Useless producer.
He'll stop after one episode for a year.
Where's this
That's
coming?
not fair. 2 months.
Where's this coming from?
You know damn well.
I don't want to see people die! Die! You see what you did? You made me mad. You made me mad. You made me use your name. Now I gotta fucking censor it out. Because you're a bitch.
You're a bitch.
You're a bitch.
You're a bigger bitch.
Yeah, you know what? I am kind of a bitch because I don't want people who I care about to die. I don't want to. And you just want to see me in pain and suffering. Because you like to see me suffer. This is not the point. I'm getting off topic. We're talking about fucking Mushoku Tensei today. Okay? We'll go back to the Godzilla shit soon. Alright, we'll do that next week. But this week, I asked him, is it okay? And I said we can talk about it later. And he said, no, we can talk about it this podcast.
Yeah.
So this is on him. I asked him,
No,
He said it was
that's
okay.
not how that works.
No,
Don't say it's on me. It's not on me.
Yes, it is.
No, it's
was-
actually on you for
No.
breaking the schedule that we had produced.
You could say no. You can say no.
That's not the same. Hey, guess what?
You can say no.
Guess what?
You can say
Women
no.
could say no. Is it on them when they get date raped?
That, bro.
No, use your logic right there. That's, no. The answer is no. It's not on them and it's not on me. Nice try.
Fucking wow.
Low-key feels uncomfortable you brought that up.
Good. It should feel uncomfortable.
You're a dick. Go. Congratulations on now somewhat ruining my mood
Good.
for talking about Mushoku Tensei.
Oh, don't worry. I was going to ruin that anyways.
How are you
Who knows?
He's gonna Yuri on Ice Me. He's going to Yuri on Ice Me. He is going to Yuri on Ice Me somehow.
If I do, it's on you.
No, it's not!
I've given you all the tools to engage with and enjoy literature that you disagree with, just because I specify how and why something is the way it is and why that is wrong does not make it unenjoyable to watch.
The problem is that you assume everyone operates in your similar mindset, or expect people to operate in your similar mindset when you forget that people aren't you!
I assume people I've given those specific tools with and have already found enjoyment in a product will continue to have enjoyment in a product even when I point out that product's flaws.
That's your point for assuming that.
I think that's a reasonable assumption.
No, I don't think so.
It's only on me if that's an unreasonable assumption.
I don't think so. Because some people...
So you think it's an unreasonable assumption that for me to think that if someone already enjoys something and I point out a non-critical flaw with that thing...
You don't think that's a non-critical... Hold on. I don't know how we got stuck on this, but now we're going to talk about Yuri on Ice. You don't think you pointing out that Victor... grooming
Yuri?
older Yuri and a potentially younger Yuri is not critical to the enjoyment of the show.
No. No, actually the opposite. I think it is critical to enjoyment. I think the engagement with those things deepens the narrative and makes it more enjoyable to critique and engage with.
Okay, that's fine, but for other people,
no,
they can view it as fuck, that character did that.
Yeah.
And now I look at everything...
I'm sorry, me pointing out the character...
Hold on, no, shut the fuck up. Me looking at that character, you pointing that out, and his actions now look differently towards me. Now it looks differently towards me.
Is that on me?
Potentially?
Is it on me that you didn't recognize what is an objective fact of... an objective, observable fact of the thing that you viewed?
Potentially.
That because I point out an observable phenomenon that brings it forth into existence in your mind, it's my fault it exists because I pointed it out as already existing?
Potentially.
No.
I didn't view it that way. No. My perception of that wasn't like that. Sure. And then you pointed that out, and now I can't say that.
And we don't consider widening our perceptions negative. That's not on me. You wouldn't say, I widen your perception. You would say, you widen your perception because of something I said.
Overall, widening the perception...
I didn't take your perception and go...
Widening your perception is not negative. But I do now value the show less because you pointed out.
I don't.
Cool, and I do. Sorry. Like, you're sitting there being like, oh, well, but you shouldn't. No, fuck you. I'm not you. I don't view it the same way as you do.
You don't think it's an interesting part to converse about that narrative?
I'm not saying it's not an interesting part.
You don't think that's a deliberate part of that narrative?
I never said that. I never said that it's not worth engaging with and that it's not like an intentional thing or stuff like that. But what I'm saying is, even if we engage in that way, my views in engaging it is that at the end of the day, he still did that. But that is not a good thing.
So, do characters doing bad things always ruin your enjoyment of those characters? I don't think so.
Okay.
I know you like villains.
Okay, hold on.
Hold on. No. I gotta finish one of my sentences.
Because you're fucking... No, stop!
I gotta finish one of my sentences.
I'm gonna punch you. You're missing the fucking...
I gotta finish
You're missing the fucking point. No.
I don't.
I'm not. I'm gonna do what you're doing. Stop. Because because you're going on a track that's not it.
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Okay, then let me finish my track and then tell me that.
Let me guess. Are you going to say that, oh, you're going to use like the army gives, oh, he does bad things, so that you do like his character less? No, that's not what I'm saying. I still like Victor. I still like Yuri. But I know
you like him less.
Huh?
But you like him less.
Because I can't find the justification of the things that he did very fucking good. He's a good character narrative-wise.
Okay, hold on. Then that cannot be why. Otherwise, you could bring that forward into other characters.
My love for Light and my love for Victor and Yuri were like completely different, right? My love for Light...
And I'm saying that difference is inconsistent with your beliefs, or at least what you're telling me. You can't say you dislike Yuri because of this thing when you like other characters because of that thing without other qualifiers, which you have not given me. So, what's the actual reason you don't like it? Do you not like it because you don't like a character that is good? I don't even think he's actually framed as being good at any point. There's something in my eye. Why is Yuri good important to your enjoyment of Yuri on Ice? Or why is Victor being good important to your enjoyment of Yuri on Ice?
Okay, at least for the fucking character and the show, I fell in love with Yuri. Like, that was almost like, oh my god, Yuri's amazing. I love him. Like, not in the, like, oh, he's a great character. Like, I want to...
Wait, Yuri or Victor? You said Yuri.
Okay, Victor. Let's say Yuri. Like, and I want to fuck that man.
Sure.
But with the point out, I still think he's an amazing character. I just no longer want to fuck him. Just like I don't want to fuck Light Yagami.
Why is that not okay?
I don't want to fuck someone that does that.
Hold on. No. Now I get to have my next point. So does that mean you can't enjoy a narrative if you don't want to fuck a character? Do you not? Hold on. Then why do you enjoy Made in Abyss?
Okay, wait, hold on. No,
Hold on. Why do you enjoy Studio Ghibli films?
Not like that. Not like that. In the specific one, in the specific sense of Victor. In the specific sense of Victor.
Why is
my love for his character
Victor different as a character?
My love for his
character. Why is he less fuckable because he's flawed?
I'm not saying he is less likable because
he's less fuckable. And you're literally saying he's less likable. You are literally saying that. It's not figurative.
No,
you're saying your enjoyment, your liking of him has gone down. This is the Yuri on Ice podcast.
Yeah, apparently this is the Yuri on Ice podcast.
Was this Yuri on Ice part 3? Was
fucking god. Construct this shit. Fucking
got a half gallon of Diet Pepsi cherry.
It's just Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Oh my fucking god. Look.
I'm covering the dead air from.
I'm trying to.
I know. I'm
formulate something. I'm not insulting. I'm not stopping you from doing anything. I'm just sitting here trying to tell myself, like,
it's pretty.
God fucking damn it! I'm trying to think. Oh my god. Oh, this is not.
Samurai.
You're very weird. What are you doing?
Samurai. I'm showing people samurai.
Okay, you don't. Why are you putting it up? Also, we can't. No weapons on YouTube.
It's not a weapon.
Yes, it is.
No, it's made of plastic.
It doesn't matter.
It's a comb.
It doesn't matter. No, it's not.
It's a single-bladed comb.
Dude, okay, look, okay.
It's a beard parter.
Alright, look. Okay.
It's a butter spreader.
Okay, look. I don't know what to say anymore.
Alright, genuine question.
I don't like you.
So Victor being a flawed character who is falling in love with the character he's training in a method that technically matches many of the aspects of grooming. I get why that action, the action of grooming is unattractive. But I don't get why your enjoyment of a character goes down because flaws are introduced. For me, enjoyment of character goes up when flaws are introduced because it makes them feel more human.
Hold on.
Real Victor making that mistake
I don't mind the flaws.
would still be understandable and still a sweet love story.
I don't mind flaws in characters. It's just the grooming. It's just the grooming. You can have flaws.
Okay.
No, but you're equating it to all flaws. It's not
No, I'm not equating it to all flaws. I'm equating it to other flaws of its ilk, of which it is a minor flaw in the grand scheme of things. It is not. You are equating all grooming, and I am not. I don't think all grooming is equal. I don't think his grooming of Yuri is on purpose, or as inappropriate as between an adult teacher and a child student. They are both adults. It's flawed, it's mistaken, and it's still a irresponsible romance practice, but so are many workplace, relationships. Heck, we have one in our friend group that started as a technically bad looking, on paper, very inappropriate relationship that was handled appropriately and very sweet. This is as well. Yuri on Ice is an inappropriate relationship on paper that is handled appropriately and fairly responsibly, and in very, very few ways introduces many of the toxic problems with early childhood grooming. Because it's not early childhood grooming, it's adulthood. It's not even intentional grooming. It's not even the intentional act of grooming. It's an accidental act of grooming because of a weird power dynamic between relationships and statuses of two people. It's not the same thing as him grooming a kid. If he had been grooming and then got into a relationship with child Yuri, the Russian Yuri, that would be different. That would be wildly inappropriate. But he has no interest in the kid. He has no interest in the child. Child Yuri has an obsession with him, but that's one-sided, and while inappropriate, is not actually the result of an unbalanced power dynamic in the same way. There's not much that Victor could have done about that. And Victor and Yuri's relationship are cool. Victor and Japanese Yuri's relationship is fine. It's good. I enjoy it. I even enjoy the fact that it comes from a flawed place because it's introducing interesting relationship dynamics for how they do their act, for how he teaches him, how he interacts with him, how he coaches him, and everything going forward. It is the fact that it's an atypical and fraught with danger relationship dynamic that makes the relationship interesting enough to put on a television show. That's why it's built like that. It's why all dramas are built that way. It's why in so many dramas, kids have crushes on their teachers, or go out with their teachers, or with way upperclassmen, or high schoolers go out with college students. It's not because they're showing healthy relationships everywhere. It's because potentially unhealthy relationships introduce interesting power dynamics that are otherwise not explored in our daily lives and are more interesting for it. Your overreaction and over negativity towards it is more indicative of your personal flaw to disassociate the actual toxic traits of grooming with the neutral traits of grooming than it is with anything else.
All right.
Okay.
What else do you want me to say, dude? I have nothing.
Do you still think Victor is super scummy or dirty?
No.
Is your enjoyment lower to Victor?
No, I guess, but now whenever I think of the show, I'm just gonna think of this conversation. You annoy me.
It was either that or you keep thinking of a groomer.
This is your fault. You could have done this so much sooner.
I tried to do this so much sooner. Every time this comes up and we do talk about it, it's a whole bunch of I don't want to. You ruined it for me. I can't ever enjoy it. Heck, the grooming thing only came because we actually had this conversation about relationship dynamics specifically, and grooming was the term you latched onto within it. My entire original point when we first talked about it was the interesting and inappropriateness or the interestingness of inappropriate relationship dynamics, and the fact that it exhibited one, and the interactions between that, and what makes it interesting. And then from there, you took, all you heard was Victor grooming. Your mind latched and went. It never followed my train of thought.
It's hard to follow your train of thought, you autistic bastard.
My train of thought follows very specific things, and I don't get hung up on terminology. It's partly why I piss so many commenters off, because all you commenters, you got stuff in your head about different terminologies and just connecting your emotions to those terms. You do that, and that's fine. It's not illegal, whatever the fuck, but it's more indicative of your unhealthy relationship with language and trigger words than it is with mine. I have a fairly healthy and academic way to work around language. I don't get triggered by language. I don't latch specific emotions to it. It's hard for me to latch specific emotions to specific words, so it's just not something I do as often. This is all planned out preamble so that we can have our topic about jobless reincarnation.
I would like you, please talk to me about these things if you're going to. I don't like getting caught in a fucking impromptu conversation.
It was important that this conversation happened.
Talk to me! Talk to me about it!
We explicitly had a conversation about how we didn't want to have a conversation before the podcast. Multiple times. We did. These are all things also I think it's beneficial to be explored between someone who's able to like engage in a disassociative way versus someone who engage much more in an associative manner. Because many of our audience, most people in general, are more associative learners than they are disassociative learners. It is much easier for them to associate feelings with words and arguments and people and action. It's all associated. It's all gets interconnected in the brain. Human brain is built like that for a good reason.
Now I'm not excited about this Mushoku Tensei conversation.
No, and you shouldn't probably ever have been, because I told you from day one that this was not going to go well. I warned you, and you didn't really listen. We did manage to have some nice hype moments in the car, not talking about it. But now that we're talking about it, we gotta talk about the things that people have the most problems with.
Alright, just go into it at this point. I don't care anymore.
No, we're gonna talk about
we are not talking about the good first. We are talking about the bad. We're talking about the shit you want to. I am not gonna get hyped just for you to bring me fucking down again. I'm already down. No, just keep going.
Ideally, you won't come down now. We had this conversation first.
We can work our way back up. If you start me up again and bring me down, it's just gonna make me more upset. So just start at the bottom. We started at the bottom. That was the bottom. No. You had something that you wanted to bring up that you said that you wanted to.
Now we can just naturally adopt.
No.
All right, then we'll start with the negatives.
Please. Fuck.
We'll start with the negatives.
I refuse to be brought up only to be brought back down again. Fuck you.
We will start with the conversation ender around Mushoku Tensei. Many of our audience, as we've seen from our last couple audience reactions and stuff, have problems with Mushoku Tensei. It has a reputation. Many of its ilk do. It's about a person who is... I keep forgetting to look up his age. I think he was... I'm going to go with he was an adult, that he was like a high school graduate.
When he died?
When he died.
He was 35.
He was 35?
Uh-huh. He was way older somewhere in his 30s when he died.
Oh, that's way older than I thought. He had not worked and not been in higher education since high school?
I think so, yes.
He'd spent more than 15... He spent 35.
I think the implication from flashbacks that we see is that
after his family dies, he has no interaction with the outside world.
No, he has no interaction with the outside world pretty early on.
It's
Because there's a moment where he actually has one friend that comes over, but he pushes him away.
Yeah.
And then from them on,
point is, so we got a Japanese man who
actually, just bringing it up. His dad, I think his dad dies, and I think that's the last of his parents. And on that same day, they kick him out. Like the same day his dad dies, the same day he dies. I think. Oh no, same day of his dad's funeral is the same day he dies.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, because the people that go to kick him out literally come in their like the suits that they came from the funeral. It seemed like they came from the funeral to that house that same day. Like they still had like the funeral.
It's been a while since I saw episode 1. Well, anyway, it's about a adult man who is incredibly socially paralyzed, still stuck through a mixture of trauma and really just severe emotional abuse over decades. Who's stuck as a NEET with no social interaction with the outside world, no nothing. Literally piling up trash and dying very slowly of obesity in his home. He's kicked out of his home. He gets hit by Truck-kun and he gets transported to another world where he's born again as a little boy. He literally lives from birth on with the memories of his old life and a kind of instigating God character that's kind of egging him on to live a better life. It's that God negs.
Oh, no.
That God negs.
He negs.
He's a negger, and he
you
know what I mean.
Be careful.
He is a person who negs.
Careful.
It's just that's the word. I didn't say that word, did I?
I'm 100% covering this.
Oh my god. Anyway, he a person who negs is someone who uses put downs.
I'm sorry.
It's someone who uses put downs to instigate action in someone else, whether that be positive or negative. Most negging people do it explicitly to bully others. Some use it to get things like dating or romance or sex out of people, and some people do it in order to push their friends to do something they want to do. Negging is long been used as a form of peer pressure to get people to do things they otherwise wouldn't do on their own.
Well, to be fair, the reason I don't disagree on the him, poking, prodding him and negging him and stuff like that. I'm talking about for his benefit.
Listen. As far as I can tell, in a best faith interpretation things, it's not for his benefit to benefit him. Not for the sake of benefiting Rudius. I'm just gonna call him Rudius. That's his character's name in the New World. That's the only name I'm gonna call him. I'm not gonna dead name Rudius.
I don't even know if we know his real name. But I don't think they even bring up his old name.
I think we did, right? Maybe, I don't know. I don't remember it if we do. But point is, he does clearly neg him in order to get him to change for the positive, for his own benefit, for the god's benefit in some way. It is negating for positive reinforcement. It's just not positive reinforcement to actually help him.
Yeah, okay.
It's not with a goodwill intention. It's with a self-interest intention on the god's part. But either way, point is, this god chose someone who didn't get to live out their childhood, didn't get to live out a childhood, and gave them the opportunity to live a new life, a new childhood, and to move past their childhood traumas, scars, and re-engage with the world, with a world. That's kind of the central theme around the central character, around Rudius. The actual narrative is about him About him growing, finally. Because he never grew. He never grew up. Do you disagree with anything I've said so far?
No, you're just literally talking about the plot.
Yeah. This piece of plot is what everyone has an issue with.
That is... That
is true.
No, I woefully disagree.
That it's a 35-year-old man reborn as a child in another world. That is what people have an issue with.
No, that's not. Otherwise, people would have issues with other shows.
No, they have an issue with him being reborn as a child in another world. They wouldn't have had the same issue if he was reborn as an adult in another world. The issue stems from people disagreeing with his ability to live out a childhood again as a child.
No.
Yes.
I woefully disagree.
Okay, what do you think the issue is?
I think the issue is the certain actions he sometimes takes in the shows.
Sure.
Of him being
perverse?
Perverse and lewd.
Are you saying that there are not perverse or lewd children?
I'm not saying that.
Are you saying that being perverse and lewd in your childhood is wrong?
No. I'm saying that...
Are you saying...
Hold on. No. Stop. Your claim was people have a problem with a 35-year-old man being
reborn as a child, yeah.
And my thing is, if that was just it, would have the... No, it's not. Yeah. No one would have a problem.
Well, we haven't come across a problem for children yet. So what's the problem?
You're saying that's what people's issue is.
Yeah. The people's issue is that he's able to do perverse things as a child.
That's not the same as what you said before, though.
It is.
No, it's not.
It is. It's an extrapolation from what I said before. It is what I said before, reframed. Their problem is that he gets to be a child with all of the problems of being a problem child or a good child or any type of child. In this case, he essentially gets to reborn as like an auteur in another world. They have problems with him being able to live out a normal childhood because they consider it abnormal due to his history. That is their issue. That 35-year-old men shouldn't be able to be reborn as kids and then live as kids. They should be reborn as kids and live as adults or have to be reborn as adults. That is the actual problem they're having.
No.
Really?
What?
Really?
You think the issue is just like, oh man, that adult is able to live with a kid again? That's not good.
Yeah, I think that's basically
not the fact of, oh, this old man got reborn as a kid and the mental state of him is him actively doing loot stuff, though.
Is a kid, yeah.
That...
You didn't say anything different. You added words without adding any meaning.
I feel like there's a massive difference of what we're talking about. Because if you just
the difference was only the action the kid is doing.
If you remove any of the loot aspects of what Rudy's does in this show, I don't think anyone has a problem with the show. Genuinely. I don't think anybody has a problem. I wish you were true, but it's a vocal minority of people, so we'll ignore that. What? That people would not have a problem with this show if the loot stuff was just not there?
People have issues with just some of the base stuff, like even like people being reborn in another world and then like sucking on their mom's teats and stuff. We can actually see this issue borne out in one of the other shows we've seen.
Which show?
Oshinoko, where one of the babies literally chooses not to suck on their mom's teat because there's a social stigma associated with an adult man sucking on a woman's teat like that without it's like a violation of space and agency. It is absolutely an issue people have. It's why it was addressed as an issue even in Oshinoko.
Okay, I can see people.
It's not the issue the majority of people have, but it is an issue.
I hear you. I could see people getting upset at that. On that level, though, that feels absurd.
Does it though? I'm just saying it's no less absurd.
Yes, you do have the mental capacity of your older self, but you were also reborn as a child. You can't do much. No matter how smart
you can turn down breast milk. Infants are capable of turning down breast milk and exhibiting preferences. We do it all the time. It's partly why formula or milk alternatives exist, or even why bottling milk exists. There are absolutely things you can do as an infant to express agency if you have it. And in this case, the babies have agency. So, yeah. It's not unreasonable. I think it's unreasonable. I think it's silly, but I hold a different set of ethical standards here.
See, well now you have me thinking potentially.
See, I think you're more like me in some ways.
No,
it's why I think it's ridiculous that if I was reborn as a baby, I would probably just bite the bullet and breastfeed. I would just have a new mother figure too.
My only issue with that is that there are benefits to having breast milk, and while yes, you're an older person, that's not good.
I'm gonna be honest.
Isn't there benefits to?
There are, but that's not really indicative of the conversation. Remember, you can bottle breast milk. You can refuse it from a teat, and then for some reason suckle it from a bottle.
Okay, actually,
there are ways around that. Still, there's still weird preferences you can exhibit that parental figures will pick up on. We see this in real life. It's not often we see a baby reject a nipple and then attached to a bottle, but it happens.
Okay. Damn, you might be pushing me to do this, I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of sitting there like,
Alright.
Damn, actually, now, if that's the case,
now,
maybe.
Here's the academic exercise I would ask of you.
Okay.
If you were born in another world, after your parents are dead, you've never had a childhood, you've never progressed, heck, even just as the way you are, say you know for a fact everyone in your old world, they're dead to you, or you don't have them, you don't have access to them, and you are about to be raised as a child. You are cognitively aware, as a newborn baby, you're about to go through all the stages of childhood. Why is it inappropriate for you to latch onto and adopt a new mother and father figure in your life? Your brain development.
I don't think it's.
Your brain development is still that of a child. Your literal physical body is that of a child. You're in every way a child, except for you have magically imbued memories from a past life.
I mean, okay, if we're being honest, he did have the cognitive ability, at least the mental ability.
Not really. We don't really see him coming out of the womb or anything. We see him gaining cognitive.
Yes, but he does
at the same point a baby would have gained cognitive.
He doesn't. It's stunted. It's stunted a little bit because he obviously can't.
He has
talk.
trouble speaking.
He has trouble. But we do see him take physical actions, almost the moment
the
he's born, he's able
same
to reach
physical actions that technically babies are capable of, and that if you are magically imbued with knowledge, you would probably try to reenact. If you, as a baby, are reborn with magical memories of a past life, your personality magically implanted, you may be stunted in many ways physically and even developmentally in your brain, but with with those insights, you would be attempting to, in the same way his baby self was shown, not really forming to what he wanted to do perfectly. He wasn't able to really control baby body. He had baby brain still, that was translating magic memories and insight into carnal reincarnation, bodily autonomy. It was still development. The only difference is the magically implanted memory shit.
Well, because you're saying magically... Okay.
It is. It's magically implanted.
No, I'm not denying magically.
We do have to bite that bullet. We're doing all this with the assumption that that's
Hold on. That's not the hang up I have. It's like... Okay, my problem is... When watching the show, and I will be fair, we should at least talk in the context of the world of Mushoku Tensei and how it operates.
To be fair, we've expressed as much knowledge about the world and how it operates as the plot has so far.
No, I get that, but my problem is we see you see. I feel like your thing is just even with the lack of motor skills, what's the problem of latching up with new parents? And I don't see the problem to that.
I think that academic exercise can be used in any world. But...
No. I get what you mean. I'm just saying for the sake of the argument, since we are talking about Mushoku Tensei, we should stick to Mushoku Tensei.
Sure.
Yeah. But
for the sake of the argument, in order to get people to...
Okay, hold on.
To engage with the actual mechanisms and not, again, trying to disassociate from the anime itself, so that you have a different perspective on it. From your perspective, if you were reborn, wouldn't you want to seek out those relationship paradigms? And wouldn't it be natural for you to assume them, especially given you're biologically related to these people?
I don't think it's wrong, but I can understand if someone didn't want it. So
Sure, sure.
let's say, okay, let's say me and you were reborn into this world. Let's say we were parents of Paul and I forget the mom's name. Damn, I feel so bad.
To be fair, the mom hasn't been much of a character yet.
I know. That's why I'm just like
though for what limited time she has, she's kind of awesome.
No, she is fucking dope. But like, let's say we're born to them. I would not judge you for like wanting to breastfeed, because like it's always one of those things which is like you were so limited to what you could do.
Screw wanting to breastfeed. It's
not wanting to breastfeed, but
right,
like
we're not even getting to the desire part of it. Just the mechanics. Would it be inappropriate for me to breastfeed? Do you think it's inappropriate to breastfeed? I don't necessarily think it is.
No, because at the end of the day, physically, you're a child. You only have so much agency, even with your mental state.
I disagree with that statement. I think you would have the agency to reject the boob.
Okay, then yes, because if you have the agency,
think it's inappropriate.
If you have the agency, then yeah. Because there's other ways you can bond with your mother.
There are other ways to bond.
Hold on.
Okay, maybe I'm thinking too far into this.
Okay, hold on.
One of the reasons I would breastfeed and why I would want to breastfeed, completely non-sexual nature, is if I want to develop a mother-to-son relationship dynamic with this woman, there is a high chance. It is a significant amount of women who experience postpartum depression and postpartum. If I want to bond with this woman, there are physical things to do that highly stimulate parts of the brain that allow that motherhood bond to develop. Breastfeeding is one of them. Yes, when you breastfeed, it activates parts of your mother's brain that literally makes them emotionally attached to you. It helps make that bond, and it's part of what's important in ensuring a healthy relationship for many people. Okay, it certainly helps.
Okay, even if that's the case, and even if it's the highest form, with your cognitive mind, wouldn't you, with the cognitive ability that you have, wouldn't you just not breastfeed? But
why?
Hold on. Not breastfeed because of you possibly thinking that it's inappropriate, but also doing like focusing on other things to make sure that like you still have the connection, like. Maybe like
but I talked about those other things. Yeah, do all of it.
Yeah, but like, wouldn't you have the cognitive ability to just reject those but go super hard on the other things that may not?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that my mother has the cognitive ability. Heck, this is a fantasy world, medieval times. For all we know, she's like a 20-year-old or 14-year-old mother without the same cognitive ability I have. Maybe I'm actually able to make more responsible choices to ensure my protections than my mother is in this world. Who knows? I don't actually know Rudius's parents' ages at their time. I think they're probably in their 20s. I think they've already gone through their adventuring era. Like Paul has certainly gone through his adventuring era. He's been a hero already, and he's kind of retired. So maybe they're even in their 30s. But I
remember a comment saying they're young, so they might be at the very least in their late 20s.
So maybe I'm able to make as responsible a decision as my mother is, and she's already bought in on the agency front that I'm her child and she wants to do this for me. I don't think it's inappropriate for me to engage with it as in I want this thing as well, or I will do this thing in order to help secure a bond. I don't think that's inappropriate as long as I'm trying to develop a mother-son bond.
Honest to God, I think the big thing is as long as you don't view it the way Rudius did, it's fine. Like,
like if it's like I said, we're starting with baby steps.
Okay, yeah,
we're starting purely mechanically, non-desire.
Yeah, because both, at least for both of our points, yours is like I wanted to build that motherly bond so she doesn't have postpartum pregnancy depression, and my thing is I'm a baby, I have to depend on my mother. I'm and the agency of her actions.
Part of it would just be simplification. I'd be too worried about whatever fantasy world alternatives to breast milk there are. I don't. If it was in our modern world, that's one thing, but like fantasy world, like the fuck do they have? Maybe they can't bottle properly. Or maybe they don't have ways of safely ensuring that formula works or something. Maybe they tried some weird magic shit on me if I wasn't doing breast milk. Who knows?
And to be fair, from what I've seen, from what I've seen at least, this is not the one that people have had a hang up on, at the very least. It seems like...
No, we'll get there.
Yeah,
we'll get there. Like I said, we're starting baby steps. We're starting both baby steps literally and figuratively.
Okay.
So, we are starting with the earliest things.
Okay.
Breastfeeding is the earliest thing. Now, I think I've made my point. You have either agreed or disagreed. What do you kind of sit on? Are you still sitting on the, like, far side? You can still think it's probably inappropriate, shouldn't do it?
I think given everything, and you being in a new world, I think you just have to go with what you know, and it's just like breastfeeding might actually be the safest option until you can confirm that there are. I think until you can confirm that there are actually safe alternatives.
Non-magical safe alternatives.
Non-magical.
I don't trust magic.
Okay, that's a using though. That's a using though.
I'm sorry. Do you trust magic?
That's cool. Fuck it.
You're just gonna get fucking zapped nutrition. Okay.
If I can zap nutrition to myself, that's kind of fucking lit. I don't know about you. I think that's cool. I think that's fire.
Fuck not eating. Fuck that.
Oh no, that's still lit.
It's replacing your eating.
No, I wouldn't use it all the time. But I use it in like...
You're a baby. What option do you have?
I'm talking about like... Dude, I'm talking about like...
No. You're saying even this alternate world, baby you gets to choose the magic zap. You choose it?
Yeah, fuck it. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes.
You see that? I'm not willing to see how it goes.
Yeah, fuck it. Let's see how it goes.
Anyhow, so mechanically, I think I've made an okay argument for why it's okay mechanically for someone to replicate the bonds of early childhood. Now, we introduce the series-specific perspective, where the person being introduced isn't taking the whole world super seriously, isn't taking the reincarnation super seriously, kind of treats it all as a joke, and so uses it as a way to enact desires he's felt in a past life. He kind of goes on a wanton streak of action, not really caring about his specific relationship paradigm with his parents at first. And I do say at first. That changes. That does change hardcore.
That just changes.
But at the start, he has this like disassociation with his rebirth. For the first 6 years of his life, he's very flippant about his rebirth. He has his magic powers. He considers his dad and a kind of brother-in-arms pervert. To
be fair, that's not entirely his fault.
And while he does treat his mother like a mother later, very early on, he has he's still engaging with the kind of perverse side, like where his past self is having trouble really engaging with his new self as the kid of these guys. He's still too much in his old self. He's turned on when he overhears his parents having sex, and he's explicitly perverse when it comes to his mother and maid's belongings and stuff. He's a little pervert. Yeah. He is. He's a pervert. Yeah. Which are all actions, activities, and mindsets that are fairly typical of overly expressive and hyperactive children. There are still things we should discourage in children. There are actions that are really bad and can absolutely be trained or taught out of a child. But the problem in this case is that you have a child with a child's brain and child's development and child's lack of ability, lack of frontal cortex control over themselves and their actions, with someone with the pre-made, kind of preset sexual awareness of a modern age man. And I don't mean a middle-aged man. I mean modern age as in modern day man. because modern day men have a very, very, very more liberal connection with sex. We have commodified sex a lot. Sex is a very unimportant thing for many people. It doesn't hold the same weight as it does in more conservative cultures.
Yeah, no. I was gonna.
So I think not even a best faith. The actual interpretation of this work is child with no frontal cortex, acting out on all of their perverse desires, and with the ability and extra ability and agency to do so because of their knowledge of the adult world, thanks to modern day knowledge dispersion. It's just taking modern knowledge and putting in a kid. Any disagreements?
So, like, okay, so I have this hang up in the way you're phrasing a certain thing where you're like, you're taking modern memories and just putting it in the kid.
Yeah.
And, like, that's not completely wrong.
But like, completely right.
Like, well, yeah, but it's also, like, I feel like it is like, it's not him, but it is his cognitive thinking. Or it is his, like...
He does not express in any way a cognitive ability that is non-typical of a child. He has knowledge sets and ability to use those knowledge sets, and those are atypical. His experience that has trained his ability to engage the world is different than a child's. His cognitive abilities, his ability to see right from wrong, we see multiple times, is not affected. And thanks to his past life's cognitive development stagnation, I'd also argue he never developed many of those skills in the first place, even in his past life. He is, in every way, as far as I can tell, a child cognitively.
Not a child and, like, that young, but I think he is at least... I think he is stunted developmentally. I will say that, like... But I think it's enough for him to at least know right from wrong and other certain stuff like that. And other certain stuff like that. Very simple stuff in a sense.
Knowing right from wrong. Let's go over that. I don't think he has the capability of knowing right from wrong. And I think that for 3 reasons. It's really only 2. I'm going to make up a third on the fly. The first reason is God is dead. He has experienced in a very real way Nietzsche's expression of God is dead. He has been transported to another world, introduced to another god. In a world with its own pantheons and magic, he literally exists in a state of nihilistic disengagement. His ability to be reborn, the instance in which he was reborn, the fucking nature of the god of this world that he's engaged with, and his knowledge of fantasy have all gathered to make it so that there's no possible way that one, if he were to cognitively think about right and wrong, he may not be able to come to an objective right and wrong. In fact, he'd have to come to the objective realization there is no right and wrong. There isn't. There just isn't. There's no overarching God. There's like different gods, and one of them rebirthed me, and seems to be a bit of a pervert and asshole himself. Like there's no morality. Morality is dead for this man. Second, he's in a child's body and brain. I'm sorry, but children don't act ethically. They don't think ethically. They don't think before they act. They act and then ruminate on the consequences afterwards when they've been enacted upon them. They don't have the ability of forethought in the same way. His extra experience gathered from his past life allows him to simulate that kind of forethought. But he still doesn't physically have it. While he's able to simulate for it and act older than his age because of it, He's able to know he needs to do certain things ahead of time. He's able to pursue certain things ahead of time because of that past experience, but he's still limited by his cognitive development in terms of what he does, how he thinks about the world, whether he thinks before he acts. Those all seem to still be stunted. And we see this multiple times throughout the series. His inability to really be enacting forethought. He's always acting first in a self-pleasing manner and then regretting it afterwards. And that's not just indicative of his like personality traits. That's also indicative of his status as a child. We literally see him grow out of these traits as he develops.
I don't disagree. He does grow out of it. I think the biggest thing that's stopping me from like that's fully agreeing is that like I don't disagree like he's stunting in a sense, but I feel like he.
Oh, technically, I don't think he's stunted anymore. I actually think he's developing normally in this new world. I think he actually gets past much of the stunted development and then starts developing normally as soon as he's developed his first real relationship with another child.
Okay, we're going ahead though. Yeah, we're still kind of.
I know, but I'm just saying.
I'm not saying he's stunted in this world. I'm talking about
he was stunted before his death in his past world. I think he's developing normally as a child in this world.
Oh, that's your argument that every okay. So
remember, my entire argument is that
I know.
having a normal development.
Let me rephrase it just so I can. Let me say it in my words so I can understand it. So you're just saying that him being put in this new body is no longer him being stunted. He's now just going through. That he was so stunted in his past life. That him being put in this new body and going through as a child is just him starting, like, at a certain point at an early age, he's just now being normal.
Pretty much. It's being normal with a few key psychic blockers for normal relationship development, such as he still has the trauma from his past life. He's still cognitively aware of that trauma, and his engagement and relationships with other people are influenced by that past trauma, and he doesn't learn to move past that influence until literally after season 1, like probably at the end of season 1. I think we actually see him move past that. In fact, I can't remember if it's in season 1 or season 2. I'm gonna stop right there. He has a literal conversation with his god, where he gets to express how he thinks he's moving past that.
Oh, that's season 1.
That is season 1. Okay, yeah. So he's cognitively aware of his issues to a certain extent, and is trying to mature at a normal rate and develop at a normal rate. And being born in a new world, a new body, and having normal or even advanced opportunities in this world has afforded him the leeway he needs to also move past from his past world traumas. But I don't think he's I think he's no longer non-capable of development. He's not stunted in this new world. He's just stunted isn't the right word. I'm gonna say like
held back.
It's not really held back either. It's like it's like slight, and he has like an impediment, but it's not like a one that he can't overcome. It's one he overcomes multiple times in multiple different steps. He has speed bumps. He has speed bumps to his development in this, but none of them are stopping the development. None of them are ceasing it or delaying it. They're just kind of speed bumping him. It's making the journey a little bit rockier than normal.
Honestly, when I think about it, I don't necessarily think we disagree. I think I more have a hang up because I'm thinking of how the anime and honest to God, the voice actor and how it's portrayed.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's stopping me from fully agreeing because it doesn't come off like that.
I know, but it comes off from his perspective. He's not thinking of it like that. It is to some extent an audience's responsibility to know how to engage with something appropriately. And in this case, the show wants to be comedic and perverse and funny. It wants to play it off as the joke that it can be, because it's trying to save the serious engagement for later. Like, very, very purposefully, I think the show starts super lighthearted, is making light of it. I think it's all from his perspective on purpose. It's explicitly the way he sees the world.
I don't disagree with that. Obviously, they would not have so much. They would not have him as they would not have his old self as a narrator if it wasn't like that.
Exactly.
Otherwise, it would just be some random narrator.
100% agree.
Yeah.
And I think the point of that is to give you a what is it called when the narrator can't be trusted? There's a term for it.
I have absolutely zero clue.
He's an untrustworthy. There's a term.
Is it literally just untrustworthy narrator?
It's something like that. It's a different word, but it's like he's an untrustworthy narrator. He's literally not a objective God narrator. He's not saying the truth. He's expressing himself, and given his cognitive abilities and maturity, it's clear that he's not mature. He's just not.
It's just there's certain it's just that there's certain things he said that made me stop. Where he's like, oh yeah, I'm a kid, so he's like, it's not the fact of like, there's just certain aspects that like he's aware of that makes it feel not great.
I agree,
and it's one of those things where it's just like, yes, he's stunted, and yes, he'll probably think like that. And there are even kids who I know that think like that. But it's weird coming. It's weird coming from someone who, while stunted, was still an adult.
I agree. That is all weird, and it's all negative actions that should be not tolerated. It's all weird, perverse shit, and you shouldn't let your kids do weird, perverse shit.
This is why.
But I still think it's all.
This is what I stand with. No, I don't think. Okay, no, hold on. No, I don't think it's good. And to an extent, I can understand people maybe struggling to get through that point. But I will also admit, if we don't have that part, the other parts lose less impact and less weight. Like,
what do you mean?
So, like, seeing like how he reacts in that in the beginning, like as he's yelling and like you see him slowly, like you see him like not really developing or doing his own thing. We don't get the impact of the scene of him going out with Roxy the first time, or when Roxy leaving, him making a pledge of like, no, I realize now I've been given a second chance. I can't be the way I used to be. I need to actually change and be better.
What's the argument here? That without what we don't have that?
Well, without like even though I might not like that weirdness in the beginning.
Without that weirdness,
scenes like those lose so much weight.
I completely agree. It's one of the beautiful parts of the show, but you want to start ugly. So I'm not mentioning all this for the beauty. No, I know. I'm just saying that's I'm saying that's what my stance is. Like, so, because that's the only thing. I'm just like, I can't hate someone if they look at that and they like be got weird. They should engage with why it's weird. And I think that's important. They should be engaged with one question, if nothing else. My final question is, if you were a child with all that knowledge, but without it being from a past life, let's just say you were a child and you knew, say your older brother told you things about what ways to perform, how to do things, how to be perverse. Let's say Paul, who's already a pervert, taught you to be perverse like that. Okay. Encouraged your perversion and then gave you the same knowledge needed to enact that perversion. Is it any different? I don't think so, because I think those are normal actions.
Wait, hold on. Different from different. Is it like, are we?
Do you think that a child given that knowledge in a different way would act differently, or do you think a child given that knowledge would only act that way if given that knowledge magically? Do you think that the pervert that we get is only possible as a set of actions and desires from his rebirth, or do you think it's possible a person can develop that way normally? Because if you think it's possible they can develop that way normally and do those same things without that knowledge, then those, to me, don't breach a level to make me say it's because of his rebirth he's like this or does this. It's because of this. It's because
my problem comes from
of his stage of development and the information shoved into his undeveloped brain.
My problem at that point comes from the intent of it all. And while
his intent is flippant, he doesn't have an intent. His intent is to be perverse because he doesn't see the world as real.
Hold on. Huh? Wait, say it again?
His intent is to be perverse because he doesn't see the world as real, as having weight. He doesn't consider them real people for years. He considers it like a weird playland world that God made for him. He has a weird, perverse image of the world that lessens the weight of the world.
I do think, though, that is different from just like a child being told. Because he has knowledge that is making him
perverse?
He has like the knowledge and that cognitive past life making him like that versus like, yes, you're being told that, but like...
so you think he has more excuse to be that way?
No, I'm talking... Well, no, hold on. No, with the knowledge he has in the cognitive space, I still don't think it's good if a kid does it, but it's one of those things of just like, where the fuck did you learn this? Versus like someone who
says they need to learn it. His ability to be a perv is completely independent of his actual knowledge. A child's ability to be perverse, to peek up the skirt or steal the panties of the maid or their mom, are all actually normal parts of development anyway.
I think the big thing you're missing is that like, yes, kids will do that, but that's not out of like a lewdness or a...
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes.
No, it's not.
No. I hate it whenever anyone says this. Yes, it's out of lewdness.
You think
it's part of sexual development, yeah.
You think a 5-year-old's doing it out of lewdness? That's
I think 5-year-olds are developing. They are now developing the body parts and abilities that are leading to that. In fact, it's not even... So technically, I hate the word perverse here. The word perverse, it should only be used with people that have hang-ups with sex. If you don't have a hang-up with sex or sexual activity, then the way a 5-year-old interacts with sexual organs is ultimately no different from the way a 16-year-old interacts with sexual organs. The difference is the amount of... the difference is in the bodily reaction and the chemical reactions. There's no cognitive difference in what's occurring. The reason... a boy's brain tells them to play with their pee-pee when they're young, even before it can get hard or anything, or to seek out their siblings or other sex's pee-pees on the playground. It is because of sexual development. It is, in its nature, quote-unquote, perverse. It is the same as when they're 16 and experiencing pleasure from those places, and their body is similar. It's the same things at different stages of development. Yes, it is lewd. It is about lewding.
I would disagree. I think a lot of it comes from just a genuine curiosity of just understanding everything around you. And I think that's a big hang up that I have. And I think that's a big thing why I have the hang up with him, because it's not a sense of genuine curiosity. It is directly lewd. Versus someone who wouldn't have that cognitive... From someone who wouldn't have that cognitive backlog of what Rudius has, versus someone who just like doesn't have that and is more just trying to understand the world.
So I think you are imbuing an innocence that does not exist on children. Children do not touch their pee-pees because they're exploring the world. A 6-year-old has explored their pee-pee for 6 years, cognitively for 5 years, in memory for 2 to 3 long-term memory years. It is because you are monkey-brained into touching developing parts to encourage parts of development. Your brain is made to make those lewd associations hella early. and it continues to reinforce them throughout your life in different ways. It is not the same as exploring the world. If it were a 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, yeah, they'd probably have no more obsession with their pee-pee than they do with like their elbow. But when you get to see 5 and 6 and 7-year-olds developing, they're not interested in exploring their elbow the same way they are their pee-pee or their vajayjay. They just aren't. It is a different thing. It is not an exploration of the world. It's not asking your parents questions about it the same way as you would your elbow. It is different. Your obsession and interaction with it is different. That's fine. It's natural. It's part of the development of your organs.
I just don't agree with that. I don't know if I agree with that. Not like, at least not like, not like.
Then I'm glad this came up because I'd love to post sources for that, both for you and in the comments. Because if that's where the disagreement comes in, is that the perversion is unnatural in someone this young. No, that seems to be
okay. This young, okay,
yeah. That a level of perversion in someone this young is unnatural. Then this is a very well studied area in psychology. I'm not a professional. I'm just a student. I'm a psychology student. I am not a professional. I have no degree, but I will happily post the sources I have for what I've studied. At any time. And this is a well-studied area. It is just factual in development. I'm a developmental psychology major. That is my specialty, thanks to my past with people with developmental disabilities. This is explicitly will be my area of expertise when I develop into my expertise. It is absolutely factual. I feel very comfortable saying that it is a part of natural development and is explicitly tied to the same parts of your brain they're developing into that lewdness. It is an extrapolation from one to the other. It is a evolution of one to the other, and children of that age are absolutely perverted. It happens. The expression of that perversion should absolutely be modified behaviorally by the parents. In this case, at least the maid is aware of this perversion in some way and should be cracking down on this instead of pseudo encouraging it.
To be fair,
no, she pseudo encourages.
No, it was not. No, it was the parents.
Oh, okay.
I've watched this very recently.
Oh, the maid super encouraged.
The maid actually brings up the fact that it's like, hey, this is not good, and she's just like, it's fine, whatever. The mom is the
later in life. We get to see the pseudo encouragement. She is okay with his perverse nature, is aware of his perverse nature, and even takes advantage of his perverse nature explicitly.
I kind of give her a pass for that.
That's giving her a pass is different from it not happening, and it happens. She is aware of it, engages with it, and is okay with it.
I will also admit, when she comes around to actually liking Rudy, a lot of that lewdness is actually gone. It does the actual.
So would you say that lewdness is developed? He's developed, and that lewdness has been refocused and redirected.
I didn't disagree with. I want to say it's like I didn't disagree.
Like it was a part of his natural development.
I did disagree with that. We're talking about these.
I'm just making sure to highlight it. Okay. Because for the people who really disagree with this, they won't engage with it.
I'm gonna say you could develop out of that. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Or in his case, I guess for people who in people's case,
that might actually be the hang up. Then that might actually be the point of disagreement. Is that
at least for that part?
Is it natural for like a 6 or 7-year-old to be perverse?
I guess that would be the natural hang up. And like that's
I think it is. To my knowledge, it is very natural. His level of perversion is exaggerated, but so is his engagement with disengagement with the world. There's a lot about his character.
Oh yeah, no, don't get me wrong.
That's extremely exaggerated.
No, don't get me wrong. It is exaggerated as shit. It is exaggerated as.
We're also not seeing 99% of his life. where he's acting normal.
True, because there are like
We're-
there are year
we're-
gaps
there-
that happen.
Exactly. We're only seeing the played up points of for comedy.
Yeah.
We're not seeing him live as a normal kid 99% of the time. They're playing up the sex jokes year to year to year over year sometimes.
Yeah.
Like it's just how it be.
Yeah.
We haven't even started.
We spent so much time on this.
So there we go. We got to it. That was it. That's the down and dirty. People have problems with him being a kid.
Oh, that's the part that you thought we would have like the huge disagreement on? I mean, we have disagreements, but not like
Yeah, we passed it now. Yeah.
Oh.
I told you we got through the hard part at the very beginning and that everything else would naturally occur. That was the hardest bit at the beginning, was getting you to buy in to the relationship dynamics instead of attachment to whatchamacallit. Grooming.
Oh.
Because once we move past that kind of terminology, it allows us to engage with a different part of the conversation. And there'll be a similar thing here.
Where?
Here.
Where?
With this part in his development. This is where most people have a problem, and I'm pretty sure they use specific terms like pervert or...
I definitely use pervert.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
wait, what part specifically are you talking about?
People have problems with him being... let's see, what's one of the titles that you would call someone who's a man who... people call him a pedophile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's try to use a different word for YouTube.
What?
Let's try to use a different word for YouTube.
Pedo bear.
Let's use a different word for YouTube, please.
I'm not afraid of the word pedo.
It's not you. Our video will get taken down, jackass. That's why I'm telling you, stop.
PETA is an organization for the...
Let's not use Pesto.
Pesto?
Pesto.
Sure, pesto. You realize you can't make clips of the rest of this now?
Yes, I can.
No, because now it'll just be pesto out of context forever.
People will get the context.
Anyway,
people
call him pesto. A pesto.
People get it.
This seems silly.
People will get it. People will get it. People
call
will
him
get
a pesto because he's an adult. And I disagree with that. I think he's a child. People disagree that you can be reborn as an adult and then be reborn as a child from being an adult, and then get to experience childhood. I disagree with that assertion. I think they are still experiencing all of the forms of childhood
Didn't you literally have a conversation where you tried to convince everyone in our friend group that that was not the case?
I'm talking academically. My personal ethics are a different matter. That's a zoom ahead for later.
I don't know about that, actually.
That's a zoom ahead for later. My personal ethics say very different things.
I don't know.
But my personal ethics also would excuse many of this man's actions because in this specific case, in a court hearing, I wouldn't put this man in prison for what he does. I'd give him psychological help because he was a severe victim who was acting out in an extreme circumstance. I don't consider this to be the same thing as us reliving our own lives. That's very different. I don't think him being introduced to the death of his entire universe.
I can acknowledge that there is a difference between going back in time and being reborn.
Yeah.
Yes.
And remember, I don't morally judge other people as harshly as I judge myself. I would have made different decisions and choices as him in this world, in his place, but my personal morals and ethics to myself, my code for which I hold myself accountable, are different from most people's. And they're also much more stringent than most people's in many ways. I wouldn't judge someone else for something I might judge myself for. So I wouldn't judge this man for doing these things for many of these reasons that I've said just now. But I would not do that. I would not do it the same way. I'm already a moral nihilist going into it. I already
I mean, I already wouldn't do.
engage with the thought that God is dead. I would act very similarly in a new world as I would in this world, with very, very minor differences. I would probably be a little bit more what's the term? Maybe it's just selfish. I would probably be a little bit more selfish. I would use my knowledge for my own benefit very often. That would be a difference. But I would do that in my current life. If I were given extra knowledge right now of the future, I would abuse the fuck out of it.
I think anybody who can know they could benefit from it. And I think if most people are being truthful, like you're virtually, you're actually like a virtual, like
I would absolutely take advantage of knowing next week's lottery numbers if I knew them.
Yeah, I think 99% of people would.
Yep. But I also wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't act the way he does, but I'm a weirdo. And I acknowledge I'm a weirdo.
I don't think most,
I think
okay.
most people in his circumstances would have acted the way he did.
You really think so?
I think most people with significant cognitive development, thanks to early childhood trauma and social isolation, may express themselves very similar to him. I think the entire generation beneath me, I think your generation and below, that have experienced like American version of needism, which is like what we call Redditors, like the people who are terminably online in online spaces. I think many of them actually would act like this. They're
actually okay. Yeah, if it's Redditors, okay, actually.
No, exactly. No.
I'm thinking about it now.
Yeah, that sounds like a joke. But I genuinely think many of those people, they express these like social abnormalities. They don't engage with people normally. They engage with people super hostilely online and use anonymous spaces inappropriately. They're not normally socially developed. I think most of those people with similar life circumstances of early childhood bullying and social isolationism would likely act up, would likely consider this their version of heaven. They'd go on a power trip for a while. Maybe not to this extent, but this extent is also a joke being played up for comedy.
Yeah.
But I do think that they'd experience many of the same things. And then I think they'd have to go through the same development cycles all over again. And they'd see that they were similarly never really developed. And hopefully be able to move past their past life.
I think a lot of them wouldn't. Maybe I'm just...
I think they'd be forced to. In this world, he's kind of forced to. Whether by circumstance or God, he's forced to.
I think many people would try to fight it. I genuinely think many people would try to fight it.
He does.
No, not... He fights it, but not as hard. I think people will fight it way harder.
People would. Many people would. People are different and will experience it at different levels. But I think those are all similar. I'm not saying they'd all act exactly the same or do exactly the same thing. Just they'd all have similar reactions to being reborn in this manner. People with social stunts, with developmental stunts, and extreme isolationism with severe trauma in their history would likely actually interact with the world in toxic ways like this for an extended period of time. They would find development difficult and abuse their past knowledge as children.
Oh, no, I'm making a claim that it would probably go into adulthood.
Sure. I'm just focusing on the childhood aspect.
Fine.
That's all I'm focusing on. Fine. I agree. For many people, it could be far later. For some people, it'll be far earlier. I'm not worried about the extremes.
Okay, fine.
I'm saying most people probably take a similar or probably lesser amount of time to really engage.
Oh, no, I'm making the claim most. I think most would. Hold on.
Okay, he's more pessimistic about humanity.
Let me look at myself real quick. Do I actually believe that most people would be super... Okay, no, but
I don't think there are enough perverts for...
Okay, no, but I do think it's closer than I think people would think. I think it's closer than I think people would think. But... Fair, yeah.
So... That's the big issue everyone's got. I don't know, right? Am I wrong?
No,
Comment if I'm wrong.
it's mostly you.
Yeah, comment if I'm wrong. If you think that it's there's anything else going on, let me know. That's inappropriate. Let me know. But for the most part, that's my understanding, is that people have a problem with him getting to be a child and developing as a child as someone who has magically imbued experiences of an adult. I think everything he does is fairly normalized in many circumstances, or can be explained and somewhat excused, or at least forgiven, given developing as a child again.
Just to me, the way, I mean, I'm getting hung up on the phrasing. I can admit that, but to me, like, opening with the phrasing of just people are upset that he is an adult who gets a chance to develop as a kid is
accurate.
It's. I mean, it's not.
Hold
on.
I am also intentionally making a dig in there. I am digging at the people who complain about this.
Okay, no, I got. Wait, hold on.
That dig is aimed at their insecurities around their own development.
Hold on. My problem with it is that, like, the way you're phrasing it, that does attract to what I think people have the biggest issue of is the loot aspect that we were talking about, like the thing with developing the kids, with my disagreement with it, and your research on it. And all that
really?
Shit.
I think that's an excuse.
No, I don't think so.
I think it's the excuse everyone will use. I think it's the thing that people will latch on to.
I promise you.
I think it will be what caught their attention. I think the real disagreement, the only way to have the conversation honestly, is around whether they're okay with him developing as a child normally or not.
No, I can promise you. I can promise you, if he went through all of this and then, like, went through this and never did any of the lewdness, but still did weird stuff that wasn't lewd as a kid, people would not have a problem with this. Listen. I actually think
most people, sure, yeah, I agree. Most people wouldn't have had the thing to latch onto and been vocal about it. Sure.
I know.
I think you're wrong for one. I have one piece of example. It's not one example does not make a statistic, but my example from personal experience is community driven around Oshinoko. We did see people reborn without the weirdness in Oshinoko.
People latched onto their love for Oshinoko.
Oh
no! But like if we're talking about
people made excuses to interpret things as they wanted. I agree.
No, I think people genuinely viewed that as like not great. Like I think people viewed people viewed the aspect.
Made up the relationship between Oshinoko and them. People made up a perverse relationship where none existed. People made up being in love with an idol with idolizing an idol. They both idolized that idol, and both of them made promises to themselves and each other to not sexualize their mother. They are obsessed, but they are not in love with their mother. In fact, expressly, the doctor in life, it was made as a joke in one scene, but the scene where like he's on the roof after the death of that kid and he's watching the idol show of what's her name? Hi. And his coworker asks him about it, and he expresses that that his affection for this woman is pure as a fan, never anything else. And like it's played off as a joke. Like the woman shudders and goes, I doubt that. The entire audience does it because there's a joke being played up. But I think the serious note is that the doctor's putting on a face, and he's it's almost like a religion for him. A girl he made a promise to carry on the memory of. He's living by that promise. He's idolizing this woman for this girl. This girl never expressed romantic love for I. He doesn't express romantic love for I. The idolization comes from, as odd as it sounds, a pure place. A little girl loved this idol and died wanting that love to be passed forward. And he genuinely engages with that wish and watches in the best faith possible and over the years, idolizes her in part because of that patient doctor relationship. That there was like real emotion attached to that. There is nothing perverse about the relationship. Even when he's reborn, he just expressly denies like her breast milk to keep that relationship pure. He refuses to even engage with things that might add impurities to that relationship. Even in his want of revenge, he's not sexually idolized I. He's idolized I for being a more complete person and has to engage with that idolization throughout the show as he learns more about her secret life. Like that's the main plot of that show. People made up, completely invented any romantic interest between either of those children being reborn and I, and complained about it. That did not come from any good faith interpretation of any statement or scene of that show. There's no way to actually interpret that. The only reason it was is because people are looking for an excuse to. People are like engaging onto this thing, unwilling to engage with it at all, and making up reasons to be mad at it. Where there is no reason, they take something close to a reason and make it a more legitimate sounding reason. They're obsessed with I. It must be romantic. They have weird sexual feelings for their mom. Didn't exist. People latched onto this one because there was a very legitimate feeling to the perverse nature of this child with adult memories. But if you were to engage with it past the very surface level, it becomes fairly normalized child behavior that's just being exaggerated for the comedic effect of a cartoon, as well as being exaggerated because of the specific life circumstances of an undeveloped person. It's not really that different. If you have a problem with your problem is that you're not willing to engage with it, not that you really have a problem with it.
I do fully admit Oshinoko and Mushoku Tensei, there you go, are different, obviously. But like, again, we disagree on the whole development thing. So there's no reason to circle back on that part already. But yeah.
Should we move on to the next hard part?
This was the hard part.
There's always gonna be more, dude.
Okay, well
there are more details.
Okay, well don't say this is because
let's move.
You phrased it just like this was the hard part.
We've got past the hard part at the beginning. There's just more hard parts. I don't know what you want me to call them. There are gonna be more speed bumps. How about that?
Okay.
There will be more speed bumps.
Okay. But you're saying that we're done. You didn't say we were done. But you're saying that we got through the hard part.
We did. We got through the hard part.
Okay, but
I was just struggling with coming up with a phrase for like the next bump, right?
Okay, but when people use that, they usually mean that the hard part's over.
Yeah, the hard part's over.
It doesn't sound like the hard part's over.
No, the hard part's over. There are other bumps along the way. Come on, that isn't the only problem people have with this show. It's the biggest one. It's the earliest one to cover. There are other problems.
It's the only one I really...
No.
No.
As soon as I bring up the next one, it's going to come real quick in our plot synopsis.
Okay, go ahead.
We'll hit it. So, as he continues to develop, he develops unhealthy relationships along the way, including with his master, Roxy. Yeah. Do you get it now?
Oh, no, I'm thinking whether or not...
Roxy is potentially very old.
Oh, no, she's confirmed to be 44.
Yeah. But is coded like she's, 16?
Something like that.
Yeah. Her people live very long lives. They stay in their late teens and early 20s for hundreds or even thousands of years. How old are her parents?
I know her mom is 102.
Yeah. So she's kind of a granny in a kid's body situation. everyone who watches anime is probably familiar with the trope at least. The most like referenced one is like the vampires who are always stuck in kids' bodies.
Yeah, the one I like personally is the
Lolita vampires.
The one I like personally is the what's the fucking show called? The romance that I was mad about so long ago. I said it was boring.
Jeez, I don't know.
It's the one with they call him Pig Boy.
Oh,
what the fuck is that show?
It's another M.
It's
an M. It's an M series.
The only thing that's running through my mind is Madoka Magica. I don't know.
It's not Madoka Magica.
I know it's not Madoka Magica. That's the only M show.
What was season 2's subtitle?
It's like R. It was like something R.
Mate Munakun's Revenge.
Yeah, there we go.
I needed the R for the associative connection.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Masai Munakun's
She's just super wholesome, but she obviously gives her. I get what you mean. We get what you mean though. This is just another example.
Anyway, people have a problem with lolly or pseudo lolly natured stuff in anime. This is an older woman who is expressed as a younger woman who then... Now, I know no one complained about this because no one cares when women are perverts. But if you think about it, she's a 44-year-old who pervs on Rudy's parents having sex in the other room. Very explicitly masturbating outside their door.
Yeah, I saw...
And they're 20-year-olds? She's a little old lech, a little
I'm gonna be that guy.
Huh? People don't care when it's women, sure.
Well, don't care about the age. Just a whole plethora of other problems around that.
Yeah, there are.
That also leads into other things.
Exactly.
From like the maid's perspective of that's an issue, adultery and all that shit. But I
don't think Paul gets with the kid.
No, not with Roxy. But I'm more talking about like. To be fair, no, I'm not saying with the kid.
Oh, also, to be fair, in this world, adultery is treated a bit differently. It seems it is somewhat socially normalized. So the act of
bro, no, you're forgetting that episode.
No, I know what you're referencing. I know within this family, adultery is expressly something not looked for, but based off of things that happen later in their lives. This world is not a stranger to seemingly either male or female harem development.
To be fair, just because you're not a stranger to something doesn't make it good. The U.S. is no stranger to school shootings. Does that make it good?
No, but it's very different. One is a normalization, and one is actually still socially ostracized. One is a social norm and one is not a social norm. Even though school shootings happen more in America, it's not socially normal for them to happen.
I don't remember actually much.
You have not gone there. You're just watching the anime. I'm referencing way later in their lives.
Oh, are you talking about him taking on 3 wives?
I am talking about a whole lot of things. We'll get there one day.
Are you talking about...
He's not the only one with 3 wives. In fact, he has 2 wives and a husband.
No.
He has 2 wives and a husband.
I know what you're talking about. I don't know if I agree with you saying it that way.
He has 2 wives and a husband, and his husband has 2 wives of his own.
I'm not there yet, but unless they properly adopt a male...
Yeah. So they adopt a specific husband-wife social practice, the giving of arm pillows.
Okay, I'm not there yet. I have no idea what you just said. I am not there yet. I had zero fucking clue what the fuck that means at all.
It's a social custom in the world of Mushoku Tensei.
Apparently. No, don't tell me shit I haven't read.
Anyway, we'll get there one day. We're not even there. We're nowhere near there.
Maybe when season 3 comes out. Maybe.
4 or 5. It's like season 4 or 5. It's like, it's the post-series stuff.
Oh God, dude! It's just not even the main series stuff. Why are you even talking about this then?
Listen, things I know about the world.
Okay. In fairness, what the anime at the very least, from where we are right now, other than Paul and Zenith, that's her name. Okay.
Other than Paul and Zenith.
Other than Paul and Zenith. Wait,
who do experience polyamory.
Yeah, no, they do.
Yep.
They do. I don't think we see anybody else.
We don't see many other explicit relationships at all.
Even
within like kingships and stuff, we don't see a whole lot. And the ones that we do are sometimes even more perverse. This world seems extra perverse.
Well, there's
Eris's entire family.
Eris's family.
Her uncle has the obsession with cat girls.
Okay. All right. There's that.
Even his father, who's a highly respected member of society, someone of actual weight and importance.
We don't know if he has a wife. You could just be fucking around.
Rudius's dad?
Oh, I thought you were about Eris's granddad.
No, Rudius's dad. Okay. Rudius's dad is married and of high social standing and of high respect throughout the country, but has a horrendously perverse reputation.
You say, okay.
No, not amongst women, amongst nations. He has a national
hero. Yeah, he does.
He's literally a national hero.
Like, okay, okay, yeah, I agree, yeah, no. Like nationwide, he's considered a great hero.
This world allows for extreme perversion many different ways. Not just allows, encourages, and expresses it. Even the methodology of slavery as it exists within this world is perverse, and how it's expressed is perverse. Dude, the beast people.
Okay, but when we...
Dude, they're being enslaved by a greedy asswipe in a mansion. What are you...
They didn't seem that sad, honestly. Other than them make me like the granddad.
They were crying in a stone crypt.
No. Not that. Wait, okay, no, not that. When Rudy's is sent off to go to get a job because he wants to help Celsi? No. So what the fuck is the green? What the fuck is her name? What is the green haired his childhood friend? His elf friend. He goes to the capital where he has other family, and those beast people, they seem fine. They seem okay.
Wait, are you talking about the people from the Beast Village?
No. That Rudius's uncle has beast people in.
Remember, they're super perverse too.
Wait, the people in the village?
Uh-huh.
Wait, hold on. How? No.
Am I referencing season 2 stuff?
Maybe. We don't see any preference.
No, you know what? I think I can do it even here. They string up a little boy naked.
Wait, hold on. I'm gonna be that guy. There's no explicit sexual aspect there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did they not have the option to give a piece of cloth to the fucking prisoners?
They're prisoners.
I'm sorry. Do we not give clothing to our prisoners?
Yeah, in some prisons, it's debatable. Some prisons are fucked, dude. Some prisons are fucked.
To your knowledge, right now, the men and women at San Quentin, are they clothed or unclothed? Shut the fuck up. Go away.
Okay. I am being unfair. Yes. We give them clothes. I can't even use that.
It is even played up as perverse.
I can't. No. Yes, it is.
He plays it up, and yeah. It's
okay, but that's his weird shit.
Sure, they could have chosen.
That's not the people though. He makes it perverse, not the people.
He points out that it's perverse. The people are perverse in their nature doing that. Why would they do it otherwise?
It doesn't help defend the other dude. The gym is fully clothed.
Yep. Yep.
It's him though.
Sure.
Keep telling yourself. The jailers didn't ask that dude to give him a massage.
Okay. After being defeated by Rudius Greyrat, the girls become No, I really am referencing season 2, aren't I? That does happen in season 1.
Wait, the girls. Wait, what?
Beast Girls? I'm really thinking of season 2. I'm sorry. I'm mixing shit up. Never mind.
Are you talking about in the school?
No. Yes.
Oh.
Were you in the school?
Yeah.
Oh, you started season 2.
Oh, yeah, I started season 2.
Okay,
yes,
okay.
Yeah. Yes, I know which Beast Girls you're talking about. Don't know about what interactions happen.
Oh, you will.
I mean, I will, because I'm going to watch it, obviously.
Anyway, point is, yes, even those people are perverse, and there are reasons that they're perverse. And if you want me to spoil as to how, I'll tell
I would
you.
rather you not. That is not in the podcast.
You want to just open that window? It's not much noise outside. Good cross breeze.
Executive producer, can you do us a favor, please?
No.
Please.
No.
The titties are sweating, man.
Congrats.
Please.
You're lactating.
Please. No, I'm not. Gross. You please.
No.
Please stop.
Just seeing if you're lactating.
I'm not lactating! What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
He seemed to think you were lactating.
What the fuck? What's wrong with you?
They don't seem to be wet.
Can you please open the window?
I can't squeeze the liquid out.
You lazy fuck!
This one.
Yeah.
That one doesn't even have a screen.
You.
Thank you, producer.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, producer Chan.
Don't call him that. What's wrong with you?
Should I not call you producer Chan?
No.
Okay, producer Chan.
Producer
Senpai?
Don't. What is wrong with you?
So many things.
Okay,
Anyway,
let's get back on topic.
Let's
You guys
get
almost
back on
fucking
topic.
done.
No, not even.
We haven't even gone to episode 3 yet.
I don't even think we got to episode 2.
No,
It's
we've
been
gone
3
to
hours.
Has it actually?
It's 5 o'clock. You guys started at like 3 o'clock.
Why don't I see a time on the
2:30.
recording?
Well, it is recording.
Oh, it's been an hour and 47 minutes, yeah.
Oh. That's not bad.
I'm glad you think that. Okay, so.
Oh, shit.
We haven't even gotten to his childhood friend yet.
Okay.
By the way, that's the next speed bump I was referencing earlier, is the childhood friend.
Okay.
Are you guys, what, halfway done?
No.
To be fair, actually, we're more than halfway done with the issues that take time. The rest will actually just be our enjoyment of the show.
Okay, fair, yeah. So
We are most
one of
likely
the-
actually halfway done, yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta piss.
Should we just take a break?
It would help us cool down, and we can cool the room down for a minute, sure.
Okay.
Alright, we're gonna stop before we get to his childhood elf friend. And instead, we're going to take an ad break for ads we don't have or play.
Well, depending on certain shit. We'll talk about that.
For ads we may or may not have. Love you guys. See you in a minute. I'm gonna start playing copyrighted music.
No. We're back. That's a crazy thing to come back to. It's like, yeah, you did Phantom Tax. Anyways, where did we leave it? No, stop playing it. I don't play the copyright.
I'm not getting
Okay.
copyrighted music up now.
Okay,
Jesus
please
Christ.
don't. All right, where did we leave off? We left off. Oh, we're gonna talk about Rudius's childhood friend. I think it was you wanted to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, well, we're going in order. We're going through the plot, right?
Yeah.
So next is the introduction of his childhood friend.
We did not get far in this conversation. All right.
No,
We did not. All right, go.
Hold on. I'm getting character names up. I'm awful with names.
Oh.
You're awful with names.
Hey, no. I'm the one that remembered who Zenith was. I'm the one who's been naming characters for the most part. I think the only one you got was like Roxy. But I've been naming Paul and Zenith and Lillian or Lily or whatever her name was, and like
You're not allowed to even naming them if you go or whatever.
It's either Lily or Lillian. I can't remember. I think it's Lily. I'm pretty sure it's Lily. Also, the one that it's the problem was I want to say the green-haired girl's name is Celsi, But I don't think it is.
It's not.
What is it?
Sylphie.
Sylphie. That was close.
Sylphie.
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 You're getting close.
I'm saying it.
The first 4 times you said it sounded like Sophie.
No, I said Sylphie 5 times.
Right there, that was Sophie again.
No, it wasn't. You're gaslighting me so fucking hard.
I'm not.
Yes, you
I
are.
heard selfie.
What? Okay, Sylphie. It's Sylphie. It's Sylphie. Sylphie! Sylphie!
Sylphie.
You're gaslighting me, and you're joining in. You're joining in the gaslight.
Sophie.
Fuck you. Sylphie.
Alright, moving past the fact that you can't pronounce Sylphie.
I can pronounce Sylphie.
What L do you think you're pronouncing?
You're saying it. It's Sylphie. Fee.
There we go.
Sylphie.
No. Okay, you heard that right? He said Sylphie.
Sylphie. It's Sylphie. Sylphie.
The way you say it makes it sound like you're saying Sophie or Sophie half the fucking time.
No, I'm saying Sylphie.
Sylphie.
I think you're just racist. I think I had to. I'm pulling it out. You're fucking racist. I have to. You're making. Are you happy, Obama? Huh? You made me racist. You made me fucking racist. It's Sylphie. Sylphie. Anyways, who is the Sylphie? I don't want to talk about them.
Anyway,
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
Rudius is well accepted in this world. In fact, he's considered a genius. He's a magical adept. They get a special trainer. Roxy comes in as a special trainer for Rudius because he's shown so much early potential for magic, thanks to his seeking it out, his metagaming knowledge of fantasy. But anyways, so as he develops, the next relationship that develops is this one with this little elf. He thinks it's a little elf boy that he's making friends with. Yeah, you're meant to. You're meant to.
I thought that was just
You're meant to think Sylphie is an elf boy.
Yeah.
This boy is facing much of the social degradation and isolationism that he did in his past life. And because of this, he's able to project his past experiences onto her and empathize with her in a way he doesn't with most people in this world. This is actually where we start to see him kind of ground himself. He's started to develop actual parent-child relationships with his parents. He is starting to develop a friendship with this child. And he finally has a friend, not just a teacher or a mentor or a maid or a parent, a friend his age. He very much internally frames it that way, that it's a boy his age. This is part of the reason I think it's very much the problems with people and with him not being a child is way overnight, because he himself internally references himself as a child. He has a back and forth discussion in his head about it. He struggles with contemplating about it, but ultimately, when the wire comes down to it, in moments like this, he slips up and just straight up identifies as a child. He's a child. And he develops a great relationship with this boy who seems to have many of the same issues he did in past life. And he uses his newfound status, abilities, and just general. He uses his new life to make a correction and be a person for this person to attach to in a way he never had. He stands up for them against some bullies. He gets the bullies to fuck off. And he provides this person, this other boy, an opportunity he never had. Over the months, maybe even years, it's kind of a watch how long this actually takes. It's it's over time. There's a significant passing of time.
No. I know it is. I'm just debating whether it was years. I'm trying to.
I think it might have been like over a year.
I think it was a year.
Because I think the seasons kind of cycle back around. But anyway, over some period of extended time, there finally comes this.
Sorry, it might have been a few years because this is before he had siblings.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. It may have been a few years. There is a significant period of time in which he is playing with this boy. He doesn't have constant interactions with him. This boy still lives as an outcast. I think kind of gets taken into their home eventually.
As of right now, he still has they still have parents.
Yeah.
And like the parents do still like live with them. It's just that they go. Huh? Yeah. Because Sophie makes a point of just like, I am an elf, and like my parents look a certain way, but I don't look like them, and I have green hair, and I don't know why. We don't know if they're biologically related, but we at least know that there are she has like at the very least adopted parents and or people who are taking care of her.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, Sophie and him develop a great friendship. Completely platonic, non-sexualized. And one day, he discovers that his friend is a girl. The way this happens is fairly natural. Young boys playing, getting dirty, and then being told to go shower, wash off together. Normal shit.
Yeah.
Some weird hesitancy around his friend not taking their pants off. And he pants it, and this is where we get to the next kind of stepping stone for people who have problems with this, is that people like to frame this as a 35-year-old man pantsing a little girl, and they see this as a sexual thing. This is where I want to address all of you as dirty, nasty, disgusting perverts.
No, even if I still go with my whole thing of he's a cognitive adult, his dialogue is like we're in a fucking even in the context of just like they are both boys, which we find out Chelsea's not a boy. It is treated as like a dude, just who fucking cares? Like he's literally like who fucking cares?
Who fucking cares?
Yeah.
He's trying to frame this as a positive moment of friendship, a bit of bonding that's normal in most versions of most worlds. But not as much in modern day. I do think people have hang-ups about this nowadays, about like boys seeing each other naked and stuff. People have weird hang-ups these days. But regardless, the discovery scene is often referenced in a negative way and in a light that's just totally lying about the scene.
I think people also forget, like, it's like, I know you hate terminology, so we just went into it. It is kind of chimp clipping the show, because literally like 10 seconds later, he does actually feel guilty. He's just like,
he immediately closes his eyes, turns around, and is like, huh?
Yeah, like it's not a thing of just like, oh, what the fuck? It's like, oh shit, he acknowledges, like, if I knew that she was a she, I would have treated this so differently.
It's also knowing this is one of the moments that he realizes he feels bad about that, and it's grounding him in the world.
Yeah.
This is like one of the first like pivotal moments. His relationships have started to develop. He's starting to take people more seriously and treat them like real people. And this like solidifies it for him. Someone that he empathizes with and is deeply connected to and friends with, who he cares about, is impacted by him in the scene, and he acknowledges the harm that he potentially did completely by accident and in good faith. In an attempt to bond with this person, he has potentially pushed them away, and he's afraid about this. He's scared about this, and it starts him on his grounding. He is now adopted to and in this world from this point onward, he continues this development in a linear and forwards progression fashion. At this point, I don't think you can consider him one. At this point, he is a native to this world, as far as I'm concerned. He's lived his whole life up to this point and is as knowledgeable about this world as anyone else born in this world. He identifies with this world. He's far past any even self-reference to his old name and body type. He knows his name as Rudius. He performs. He's performatively of this world. He speaks the languages of this world. He's not taking notes in Japanese in secret or anything. He's of this world. He's solidly part of it, and he's a child in this world. He acts like a child, has the expectations of a child. Grown men don't typically go around pantsing each other. This is something expected of someone in development.
The only thing,
a bonding activity of early development.
The only thing that I could see, and I could see the logic of, is we see him obviously recognizing his own trauma being
represented upon
and Celsi, and like
Selfie.
Okay, yes, Selfie. And
Selfie.
We're not doing this. Selfie. God, what's her name? Selfie. Okay. We see it in Selfie as she's getting bullied, and so the only thing I don't think I would probably say is that you would think someone with those similar traumas of saying no in certain situations, where if you're being bullied, you would probably have that same situation of, hey, no. The only thing I would say is that there might have been a level of trust of just like, do you not trust me? I could see like that conversation there of just like you've probably...
Well, he also realizes that is exactly the boundary he's overstepped. When he's in his mind and he's in fear about it, he's calling back to his memories of when people pantsed him.
No, I know that.
Yeah, he's explicitly afraid he has scarred this person he cares about in the same way he was scarred by other people.
Yeah. My only thing I would think of is my only thing I would say is that you would think someone with that traumas wouldn't have done that in the first place. But again, honestly, it just comes down to people make mistakes sometimes.
Well, actually, I think this is the one of the primary things. I actually think that's a good point. I think this is one of the primary things. One of the reasons I say he's why his development isn't stopped by his past life anymore. You're right. Someone who is very easy to trigger around these things wouldn't likely do that same thing to someone else in most scenarios. The thing is, he's moved past. He's had like 6 or 7 years, maybe 8 years at this point, 9 years at this point, in this world, moving past his triggers, even if he hasn't moved beyond them and still ruminates on them, and they've still affected the way he perceives things and the actions he chooses to take. He is far past the point where his triggers are dulled. He's not going to be triggered by something like this. It's been 9 years since he's been in a completely new and safe space. Not only is the space so safe, he's not typically triggered by it anymore. Even when the bullies come around and he does experience the trigger and the memories, he's not afraid of the bullies. He stands up to the bullies now. The triggers aren't enough to stop his development. They're an extra incentive to push into his development for him now. That's why I refuse to like use the word stoppage or anything. They're like speed bumps in his development, but they're bumps he's like literally just hopping over. They're just bumpy. They're edges, but they're not hurting him. They're just uncomfortable. It'll bring up the memory, it'll trigger the memories, and he's actively pushing through those memories and triggers to more healthy attitudes and actions. He sees Sylphie being bullied, is triggered to remember people doing the same thing to him, but instead of cowering in fear, like his immediate response is to cower in fear, walk away, pretend he didn't see it. And he pushes through those and instead stands up for Sylphie, protects Sylphie, becomes friends with Sylphie. At all these points, he faces the trigger. The trigger doesn't affect him enough to stop him anymore, and he moves past it because he's been a foot. You definitely broke that thing. You liar.
No, we're good. Look.
That does not help.
No. Okay, alright, that helped me, Okay, fuck.
It's why I think the way I do. It's why I perceive this character the way I perceive this character. This is one of those key elements. He is expressly faced with the fact that he may have caused the same harm to another person. He's triggering things that he has, and it comes back that he hasn't. Sylphie's relationship with him is not the same as he had to his bullies. And because of it, they moved past this very quickly, all things considered. Also, this is one of the only times his parents have like a full-on actual discussion with him in which they teach him to be more mature.
Not Paul. I love you. Not Paul.
I'm not talking about Paul.
Okay, but you said parents.
I'm mainly referencing the maid and his mom. His two moms. I'm referencing his two moms.
Zenith and Lily, sure. Paul. But you gotta acknowledge that a lot of that scene is with Paul. Like, Zenith and Lily. I don't even... No, actually...
Going forward,
no.
I will probably say very few positive things about Paul until later, because Paul is in a midlife crisis of development himself, where he has, like, instead of acting out buying a car, like some of our men do, he, like some of our other men do, acts out and it goes off and has sex with other women, and is overtly perverse and kind of counterculture to his own status. He's rebellious to the attitudes people pushed on him, about him, for him.
Later on is going to be an interesting discussion. I think both of us are going to have an interesting conversation
on fatherhood later. There are interesting fatherhood developments throughout the... Heck, even some of his, like, the sword fighting stuff. You see genuine moments of fatherhood from Paul, but it's usually not in social context. It's in, like life context. He has life lessons for Rudius that are embedded in seriousness.
Okay,
no social.
Since we are on topic of Paul, since Paul does play a role in that.
Paul.
Right now, would we call him a good father?
He's all right.
That's kind of how I feel.
It could definitely be worse. He's there.
Oh yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
He's there for his kids, and he genuinely cares, and he does actually teach and train his kid. He has some unhealthy attitudes about society and societal expectations. Due to his unique place and history with society, as a weird icon. It's not been explained a whole lot so far, but from context clues, it seems that Paul is like, he's kind of like, he's got the same reputation as party members from like the team that have defeated the Demon Lord or something. Like he's got a superb reputation. No, I shouldn't use superb.
Don't use superb. That's the one time you actually can't use that right.
Okay, he has a spectacular reputation. In martial prowess, he's like a sword lord or something.
He's a sword saint.
Sword saint. He's
who knows all the like fighting styles
at the
of like
peak of expertise in his field, and clearly has performed extreme heroic actions. At this point, we don't know what they are. We don't at this point. I don't. It's not directly referenced, right? That's not.
No, not that I can think of. Mm-hmm. We don't. We acknowledge, like, I think the biggest hint I think we get to him, like, as a person is when we get introduced. Like, this is way later, but I'll bring this up now. When we get introduced to his two former party members, and they do acknowledge that they do not like Paul. They don't want to talk about Paul or the past and what he's done.
They're both women.
No, one was dwarf.
Oh shit, you're right.
Yeah, one was a dwarf.
Oh
yeah. There's a man that hates him, but they do at least acknowledge the fact that they do need to find him. That whatever he did was bad that they don't want to talk about, but still acknowledge the fact that they should find Paul. and are willing to find Paul.
I'll be honest. I don't know. I don't know what Paul did. I don't know what heroic or perverse actions Paul's done.
Honestly,
I actually think the way I read it, I actually think it might just be his rejection of his status that they look down upon. That he left the heroic life when he could have done better for the world.
I'm gonna be that guy. I think given how Paul is and how they've set up Paul in a sense, I don't think it's like that because
really
they acknowledge
the
fact that like
I get the sense that they think he ran away from his responsibilities by using his wife and child as an excuse. That he got a girl knocked up and he used that as an excuse to leave the life they led.
No, because A, Zenith was a part of their party, and B, they actually talked pretty positively about both of them being like, oh, I mean, they had kids. Like, it happens. So it was actions that he took during the adventure, not him leaving. Because they acknowledge that. They're all surprised that, like, he actually turned out to be a good father. It's like, oh, shit. I mean, well, not a good father, but, like, it's like, oh, you didn't, hey, somehow you're not fucking screwed like Paul. That's good. So it's like, it's not the actual leaving. Oh, okay, hold on. Okay.
I actually don't think they say anything like that to him because the manner in which they meet him, he's wearing underwear on his head and threatening them.
The blonde girl does when he's in the Snow City up north.
That is so much later. That is so much later. That's not in this.
And
that is not in this interaction.
And okay.
And that's not a member of Paul's party.
Yes, it is.
It is.
Yes, the blonde girl who's like smashing everybody. Remember this?
Oh no, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Anyway, not useful for the.
Fine,
okay.
Bring it closer. Both Eris's father and
we're getting so far.
I know. Okay, I'll bring it back to at least like the first.
We're referencing characters that haven't popped up yet. Eris and Eris's grandfather. Who's that?
We brought up the Beastkin. We brought up them, but Eris's father and grandfather both actually acknowledge that he's actually nicer. It's the reason why they're
but they're perverts.
Apparently that
it's actually that I think the reason of his rejection is
no. I remember. I know why. Don't fucking bite my. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Poking my boobs.
Yeah, but not in that way, motherfucker. What's wrong? Anyways, I know why you say that because his family gets at him for rejecting his no.
Yeah, hardcore. Yeah.
Not his party. His party does not get at him for rejecting his status of any type of adventurous stuff. His family does though.
Know of. To be fair, they could.
Okay, fine.
That could be the subtext.
The current party members that we have met does not have that context. Does not have like that insinuation of him.
They do.
No,
they absolutely do.
Of him leaving? No. Or sorry, okay, I'm mixing up. They don't hate
him.
No. Sorry, they don't hate him for leaving or rejecting whatever type of status or ability he has.
I'm not sure that's true, but I'm willing to bite that for now.
Okay. Right. What's that? What are we talking about? Well, Paul is if he's a good father. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
He could be worse.
Yeah, no, I agree. He could be worse.
I mean, he's a fantasy kid from wealth and status, and he's turned out pretty well for that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
As fucky as he is, he does do right by the people he cares about.
Yeah,
and he does genuinely care about people.
For the most part.
No, I think he does actually do the best he can. I think he's weird and fucked up, and I don't think he's great. But I think he's doing the best he can.
He could have not cheated.
I don't think so.
What?
I don't think he's capable of making that decision. I think he, like most people, I don't believe people can make choices really. I'm on that.
Oh well, okay. That's a deep ass. We don't have time for that. We do not have time for that conversation.
I think his specific issues seem to be about romantic connection and internal worth, and I think those come out toxically as expressions when he seeks out other romantic partners, and is trying to distance himself from people with his perversion. So I think that's all kind of built in to his what makes him a little bit fucked up. I don't think he's capable of making healthy decisions in regards to relationships. I think he's very explicitly not capable of that. We even see this kind of process again later in the series where he has an inability to healthily process even non-sexual relationship with his son properly upon the reunion after being split. Like, we will see his problems. He does not have the self-control necessary to respond healthily when it comes to relationships.
I will say that interaction, while I do not agree with Paul, I think there's a lot that adds. There's a lot behind that one, I think.
And none of it is appropriate. None of it is
It
is not. I'm gonna fight you on that.
Okay. God damn, fucking
as a fucking what? 13-year-old child?
Okay, no. My thing isn't like, oh yeah, no, that's understandable. But like,
no, he's 15 because Eris is 16. He's only a year behind.
No, he's 13. Because Eris is 15 and there's a
Isn't it the same year the season ends? No.
Yes.
Yes. If it is, I know she's 16 and he's 15.
No. Because there's the scene that happens when they get back to wherever they're from, and there's the camps.
Wherever it ends with them.
Here's it. They mentioned
the end of the season, she is 16 and he is 1 year younger than her, meaning he's 15.
No.
Yes.
No, he's 2 years younger. And the reason why I say she's 15 is because there's a scene where they're interacting with each other and talking about the promise, and it's like, wait, we need to wait 2 more years till I'm 15. Which implies that he's 13, which also makes the fact that she's 15.
Or there's only 1 year, and the 2 years is for him, not for her.
That's what I said. The 2 years is for him, which would make him 13.
It doesn't necessarily make it for. I don't know that. I think there's only a 1 year gap.
That wouldn't make sense to wait 2 years though, because he mentions that she's already.
She could just be overexcited.
No, but he mentions that he's of age and he's not, and they'd have to wait 2 more years. If that wouldn't make sense with that 1 year apart, he would only say that we have to wait another year. But he mentions that we have to wait 2 more years.
All right. I'll bite that. Okay. You've convinced me. He's 2 years younger than Eris. Or he's 30 years old.
Oh my god, that's a whole other.
We already covered that.
Yeah.
He's not. I'm just poking fun. I'm poking the bear. I'm poking you fucker out there who's for some reason watching this, even though you disagree with me so much on everything I've said.
Hate watching is a thing.
Yeah. You really wanna cling. Nah, it's a 30-year-old
hold on.
child's body.
Is there anything else we need to talk about?
We haven't gotten to Eris yet. We haven't gone to the fact that he's stagnated, and they separate him from his childhood friend and the family he loves, because they just decide he needs that push. Despite all the talk about him being able to lead a happy, healthy life, they end up pushing him to further advance himself because of his potential, rather than letting him lead a simple life with a friend he's grown up with. I think that's kind of sad. It is the next plot point too. After the friendship,
there's a lot.
No, that's the next plot point.
I thought you were talking about the other separation.
No, between him and Sylphie.
I know, but you're talking about him, Eris. But well, we can.
That's later.
Yeah,
that's way later.
I have thoughts on that. But he could have gone about it better. He didn't need to knock him out, but Paul's also right. He would have just tried to talk him out.
Paul is 100% right.
Yeah,
Paul. If they were gonna do that to him, they didn't need to knock him out. They needed to
push him,
force him to go in some way.
Yeah, it was one of those things.
It could have taken a lot of convincing or a quick knockout.
I guess Paul's not great with words.
No, he's not great with many things.
I guess it also does prove.
He's great with a sword.
He's
great with his sword.
Okay. I guess it also does prove his point though. Just like, yeah, they haven't really grown, so you kind of have to go. Bye.
Yep. Which moves us to the Eris family household. We can actually move past this part quickly. There's not a whole
there's
lot.
Not a lot. There's not a lot.
The
oh,
main...
you know what? I wish instead of this was one of the very few gripes I had of it.
A lot of character development, just not a lot of plot development.
You know what? You know who I wish they actually did something with is the Queen, and I think it's actually, if anything, to at least get that interesting lore because like it feels like she just kind of switches. Out of nowhere, it's just like, oh well, there's this reason. It's like, cool. We couldn't have had that interaction, maybe.
I feel like we're about to actually get there.
Oh, do you have comments about?
I think we're about to get there in season 2.
Wait, like
I think season 2 is gonna turn into Game of Thrones. Quite literally.
That would be interesting. They did sow the seeds of that, of the family tension and whatnot. Which I guess is the...
How far into season 2 are you?
Last point I left off, which...
Have you gotten to the princess yet?
Oh, yes, I've gotten to the princess.
Okay.
Oh, that's like the first episode of season 1.
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, and her...
The first episode of season 1?
It is the first episode. Oh, no.
Arc of season 1.
No.
Season 2
I'm high as shit. No, that's not. The
entire first arc is in the snow, dude.
Yeah, no, that's completely my fault. No, that's completely my fault. Yeah, I forgot.
You're missing a whole fucking arc.
Yeah, my bad.
A whole fucking arc that was missing a whole fucking arc.
What?
We'll get there.
Jesus Christ. Okay, alright.
One day we'll cover season 2 in a separate one. We're not doing that today.
Only because it's technically not finished, so.
Not just technically, it's not finished. There's no technicality about it, it's not finished.
Aren't you the one that's like, oh, parts are actually seasons, blah, blah, yada, 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 blah, 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 blah.
What?
Aren't you the one that's like, the way that they do parts for the animes is...
That was to convince you to watch it, not saying that we could discuss all of season 2.
No, we had a whole thing of, like years ago, about you talking about how, like, parts in anime, like, the way they split up the parts in anime...
Oh, yeah, if we were talking about this, though, then we'd do a Mushoku Tensei Season 1, Part 1, Mushoku Season... Yeah, I do agree with that, but we're not framing that. We're doing all of season 1, which is 2 parts.
But aren't you
at once?
Aren't you the one that doesn't like that? Wouldn't you be more inclined?
I don't, but I bit the bullet ages ago that performatively we do this anyway. We do this largely following actual full seasons, Part 1 and Part 2 combined. We have a history of doing Part 1s and Part 2s combined. We don't have a history of covering them separately. So,
you could.
We could, but we didn't discuss ahead of time, so I went with our status quo, which is a safe assumption.
So you can't talk about anything from season 2?
No.
I don't want to do this podcast. No. Honestly, if we did, that'd be another
we haven't
extra.
Gone to the most interesting
Okay,
stuff.
all right. Okay, I'm delaying. Let's go. All
right. In the Eris household, we get introduced to one of the most important characters in the entire show, Eris Grey Rat. Eris, not Grey Rat.
No, she's a Grey Rat. It's like Eris Notary Grey Rat or something like that.
Sure.
Eris Notary Grey Rat. Eris Boris Grey Rat.
Yeah. Boreas Grey Rat.
Boreas Grey Rat. You know what the fuck I mean. It's this fucking name, man.
Who is going to be Rudy's main companion for a very long time. He trains under the sword master who
I don't remember her name. That's the one person
Big Muscle Mommy Cat Girl.
Which sucks. I do actually really like her. I wish she got more screen time.
She's awesome.
I wish she got more screen time.
Muscle Mommy Cat Girl. If I Google Muscle Mommy Cat Girl, what comes up?
You're gonna get a lot of options and a lot of other weird, like, you're gonna get a lot of weird Google search like results. I'll tell you that much. I think it was like Was it Calais or was it like the Gale? Was it Galay?
Ghislaine.
Ghislaine. There we go.
Ghislaine.
There we go.
Dedolegia. Dedolegia?
Just call her Ghislaine. Just call her Ghislaine.
Ghislaine, however you want. Nickname Muscle Brain and King's Hound. Trains Rudius and Eris in swordsmanship. And they go through bonding moments. The main point of contention to talk about here is the next instance that everyone has a problem with is sexualization of Eris by Rudius. They're children of roughly the same age, and it's clear she's going to be his romantic interest for the arc going forward. And she kind of is. Yeah. They develop together. They train together. They go through their respective arcs together. There are two kids who develop together. I don't know.
I think that's the best way to say it. Yeah, they just develop together.
The best way to treat it is this there are two kids that develop together. They do. I don't really know of another way of interpreting it. This is where he has some self-dialogal moments about how he doesn't want to sexualize the kids in this world. But like his body has natural responses to kids in this world because he's a child. He struggles with that a bit. And even though Eris at one point is very sexually progressive towards him.
Wait, are we talking about at this point, right?
Yeah. Sure. Or I'm skipping a lot, but
no, that's fair. I mean, you probably don't disagree with me, but I probably wouldn't count that as much. Not in like the development sense, but more so just because it felt like it kind of was.
How does that change anything I said?
I don't know.
You know how kids are awkward about sex and sexual things? She's awkward about it and clearly not super into it, but thinks it's like her duty to like offer herself sexually to him. And he doesn't like it. He struggles with it, but he has bodily responses to it and ultimately says no. I don't get what the... That's how virgins are.
No, I get it. You just made it. It felt like you were more of just like yeah, she's like really into it. It's like maybe
she's really into
but like
him.
that first time, I would not give her
and makes the advancement to him. She feels awkward and uncertain about it, but so do all virgins, especially that young. Jesus Christ.
Well,
they're like what 13 at the time.
Well, but my problem is it wasn't like an awkward like I'm 13 and blah blah blah. It's like a my father.
That's my father. Natural.
Well, no, it's like how my father told me this is good for the kingdom. So yeah, which is why it's like
it wasn't really either though.
I don't. I think
it's not as simple as my father said it was good for the kingdom, so I'm going to do it. It's way more nuanced. It's way more nuanced and way more normal than that. In like it kind of fucked up way normal, but normal than that. It's not. It's not. This is beneficial for the kingdom. Go have sex with that kid. It's like their family knows that they're kind of being pair bonded. They're being raised to be pair bonded for political purposes, and they're trying to encourage the relationship to develop. And one of the ways to instigate that is sex. People in feudal kingdoms obviously see sexual maturity much younger than people in modern advanced.
But I think people I think there's an issue with with people feeling where hold on. I think there's an issue with the way it's framed, especially in the show, of like the conversation that him and his uncle have of just like you and I can like take over the kingdom and like you can have my daughter, you can have my daughter's oh, you can have all you want. And him being like,
I agree.
and then like,
It's
and then like
sleazy.
her being, yeah. So I think like,
I'm not disagreeing with any of that.
well, it feels like your boy just being like, it's like, well, yeah, it was awkward because of that. It's like, it wasn't awkward because obviously she was.
It's not awkward because of that part. That's the thing.
I feel like that's a big contributing factor.
No, it's awkward for him because of that part. She doesn't have 90% of that context. She doesn't. Not only is she not given that 90% of that context, even if she was given all of the same context he was, she would understand less of it. She'd have less knowledge about it, and she'd have less care for knowledge about it. She's very visibly portrayed as like a muscle brain herself, in the same way her master is. She does not care much for politics. She doesn't pay attention to them. She kind of does what she wants. She's very headstrong. She doesn't really give a shit. The reason she goes through with the suggestion has almost nothing to do with political pressure at all. It has to do with because a family member told her that was how she can get close to him. She is thinking of this relationship first and is being manipulated and told this is how you get close to this boy. And she is uncomfortable with the action itself. She doesn't know what's happening really. She feels icky about it. And that has nothing to do with the political push. That has everything to do with her being manipulated. Nothing to do with the politics, though. It has to do with her not choosing for this to happen, not knowing why it happens, and not really being comfortable with that side of herself. She hasn't developed into that.
I mean, just because she's not aware of it doesn't mean that the audience is aware of the possible political things that can make it.
But we don't... As an audience member, I don't care about my knowledge when it comes to the interpretation of someone else's feelings. I have all this knowledge that Rudius has, and I also have the knowledge she doesn't have that knowledge. I have the knowledge that she wants to get close to Rudius and that her family told her that's a way to get close to Rudius. And even though she's uncomfortable with it, she wants to get close to Rudius so bad she's willing to go through with it. Those are the important statements. The political manipulation has no importance on her side of things. It doesn't. Not to me, not to her. Just in a coffin. Okay. It does matter to Rudius, who's much more aware of that, of the whole situation, who's been made more aware, and has much ickier feelings about that part. Otherwise, with his perverse nature, he may have been really into her seeking him out, and even though she's somewhat hesitant, being into it. It is ultimately, though, her awkwardness around it, the fact that he's also a virgin with his own fears of sexuality, and the fact that he knows that it's wrong because it's being pushed for political reasons. He knows why she was probably told to do this, if she was told to do this, and decides not to do it. Doesn't matter on her side, though. She doesn't care about the politics. And she's not aware of the politics. For her, the important part for me, and the characterization moment that is important to me, is that she loves Rudius even at this point. It's very clear. She loves Rudius. She's willing to do a lot that makes her uncomfortable to keep Rudius by her side. And this gets expressed a couple different times throughout the series. She's very willing to be uncomfortable to keep Rudius. She's willing to put herself through a lot to keep Rudius. And this is the start of that development. That's what's important for me. The politics stuff literally doesn't matter. They get teleported out of it mattering at all. They'll never come up again.
But
it won't come up again until season 2.
It comes back a little bit in season 1. And there's reference to there's at least
very little important. I don't think it really does.
Grandfather's head get cut off.
It has nothing to do with this. What?
You said it doesn't come. No, you said it doesn't come back.
It doesn't. I would say push for their sexualization with each other. If I'm her family, never comes back. Yeah.
No, you just said the political aspect of shit doesn't come back.
No, dog. You know what I meant. The political aspect.
Apparently, I don't.
The political aspect of pushing her sexual relationship with Rudius never comes back.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, there we go.
All right.
That's what I said.
Okay, that apparently wasn't clear to me.
Okay. They go on adventures. They do things.
They do.
How far ahead do we want to skip?
It depends on how much matters.
You know what? Good point. Ultimately, I don't think a whole lot really matters.
I think
I want to talk about. I want people to experience.
I think a lot of that adventure is them kind of fleshing out the lore of the world of like, yeah, you get to see the demon continent and this place and that place and like all that stuff and planting little things, I guess. I think what is
so
that?
we're skipping into the demon continent. All right, so big world shaking.
Wait. Is the demon continent not just like right after this?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, we've talked about everything we could talk about for this one.
Sure, yeah. But we gotta actually explain how they got there. You can't just say the demon continent and then there's a...
Oh, that is actually kind of... okay.
Like, you went like, oh yeah, wasn't it right after? Yeah, but... Hello.
No, that was a big event.
It's not just a big event. It's also a plot-centric event for the entire series going forward.
No, you're right. You're right.
So, big magical equivalent of an earthquake happens, and all of the people of this entire kingdom get displaced in the world. Some of them are never found. Some of them are found dead. Some of them get teleported to God knows where. Everyone from this continent, like most people from this continent, just get magically telewiped to other places.
Yeah.
Our main characters get telewiped to the demon continent, the middle buttfuck nowhere. And from here on, they meet the next important character, who is, from this point on, I don't think details matter as much. We've gone through all the important stuff that people have contentions with. From this point on, it's really just a great fantasy adventure.
Yeah, that's what I said. This is used to flesh out the world a lot and used to like go on adventures.
They get teleported to this. They discover new peoples. Make a couple new companions at different points.
Only thing that might there's like a couple of things, but it's like normal things like him dealing with.
Yeah, it's normal. It's well done, extraordinarily well animated and well done. Normal fantasy adventure. With like a dark tinge on it. It's dark high fantasy. It's not really dark fantasy.
I wouldn't call this.
It's much higher fantasy than it is dark fantasy, but it's got a dark edge to it.
We get some. I'll say this. It was a cool way to give some to flesh out other characters without having them there. Of them just being like, yeah, we gotta go for this fucking gun. And it's like, oh, we're in said and said's place, and like said and said's like homeland, and it's like, oh yeah, do you know this person? Oh, what the? I haven't seen this person in God knows how long. And like learning a little bit about them.
Adventures and world building, well done.
Yeah.
The next real plot point of contention that I think we could discuss is the reunification between
Paul and Rudius.
Between Paul and Rudius. Paul and Rudius is the only connection reuniting I care about.
Well, to be fair, no, I was talking about the town they were in.
Oh, sure.
Which is Milas, I think it's called.
Eventually, after the whole big disaster, they run into Paul completely by accident.
Yeah.
They're both trying to find people / make it in the kid's case, make it back home.
Yeah, because he has
they don't really know what happened.
Yeah. Which I guess
as far as they're concerned, it might have been largely localized to them until they hear later on that it was like everyone from the continent of the kingdom of blank.
I guess the other important thing is that like they do mention the little threads of just like Paul has been setting out stuff and there have been other search parties, but they just never have crossed paths. But it's been like this close of like, which is kind of important to that interaction.
I don't think it is. I know you think it is because I know you're on the opposite side of this argument as me now, and your side of the argument depends on those being little important facts.
Well, no, I think both of them are I think it helps for both of them. I don't think it benefits anybody. But I think it's just nice to know. I genuinely don't. think it benefits
there are a lot of things nice to know. It's nice to know that Dead End is an effort to get the Superb's reputation, but we're not covering much of that though. Okay. Those are cool things I want other people to discover that aren't in. I've never heard anyone be in contention about those things, and I want other people to watch this show.
Listen, I just want to. I get that.
We've provided a lot of context for specifically what I think are the only important parts to cover. I think all the points we've covered so far are important because they're highly contentious in the anime community. Rudy's relationship with these people so far, mainly girls and children, women and children, are contentious in the anime community. The next relationship of contention that we get is between him and his dad.
Yeah. Which I haven't seen many people complain about, but I get what you mean. Like
there was a decent little explosion when that episode came out. There was some real hate. Going around.
I did not remember seeing this shit.
There was hate. There was people on the Paul hating side for being a child beating asshole. There were people on the Rudius hating side saying he got his comeuppance and deserved even more. There was like some weird arguments around both sides of this one.
Also, I like you think it's like we're gonna be on opposite sides. I don't think we are. I really don't think we are.
If you have any justification for Paul, you're on the opposite side of me on this one. So when they reunite, Paul has a, let's call it extreme reaction to seeing his son. An extreme and, in my mind, very unexpected. I think it's meant to be unexpected. I think we're meant, as an audience, to expect a happy reunion.
Yeah, because he does at least establish that fact. Well, because like we see them fight beforehand, and we see Paul like hold back a lot, or at least like allows Rudius to actually eventually.
We have never seen them really fight before this.
No, but I think that I think it's we haven't seen them really fight, but I think it's a nice parallel to have because it shows that like, oh yes, I don't want to be like my father. I almost became like that. I think it's nice to point that out, but see that like that comparison of like, oh, he didn't really live up to what he said beforehand, or he didn't like he didn't really stick to what he was saying when all those years ago.
Okay, I get that. There's a nice bit of perspective.
Yeah.
So, how would you describe Paul's reaction?
No, Paul's reaction and how he handled just everything was like that. It was not. It was extreme. It was not good.
He physically assaults his son, and then blames his son for the disappearance of Rudius's mother.
Okay, no, he does not blame him. He does not.
Yes, he does.
No, he does not. He does not blame his son for the disappearance of it. But what he does get on him on the fact of is you didn't look for her.
Where were you? Are literally words he says. He blames his son for not being able to prevent it from happening.
No, he wasn't.
He absolutely does.
No, he wasn't. He doesn't. No. He doesn't blame him for preventing it. He blames him for not searching. No, that's that. No, if you're gonna say
he blames him for both.
No, he doesn't blame him for preventing it because he acknowledges that there was nothing that they could really do.
That acknowledgement does not come until later. No, it does not.
Everyone explains it. It's that to them now. Hold on, no. Even him reference it as a natural mana disaster. So it's something that everyone is.
I'm not saying he says that it's his fault. I'm saying he blames his son for not being able to prevent it happening from his family. That is true.
No,
he
doesn't.
Big
thing that he gets on him for is he's not searching because he said there. He's like, I sent letters, I sent things in the Adventures Guild, and you were out having a fun time in this shit. You're supposed to be looking for your family. What are you doing?
I agree with all of that.
Yeah, but that's not him blaming him for stopping it or trying to prevent his family from being fucking stopped at the.
No, those aren't. Those quotes aren't. You're right. Continue for the whole thing.
Because like he mostly just gets on him for not searching. Because I think he understands, like, oh, he got lost. He even says that he's like, no, he doesn't say that he doesn't say that till later. But he is surprised to see his son in the very, very first time they see each other. And he only gets mad. He only starts really getting mad when Rudy starts going off about his adventures and like a way to not really worry his father or try to like impress his father. But his father doesn't take it that way. He's like, oh, so you're out having a fucking fun time. Because before that, he actually goes, it's like, oh my god, like, what the fuck have you been doing? And it's like, he's not mad at that point. But we see him visibly get mad as Rudy just keeps telling on his adventures. And then that's when he starts exploding. He's like, oh, so you didn't even think about your fucking family or even think about, like, searching? You didn't get any of my lectures because, oh, you're part of the Adventures Guild now. So you didn't think of checking your inbox or checking any of the letters I wrote to you or your fucking party or shit like that?
I agree with all of this.
That's not him. That's not him blaming you for...
Okay. Do you believe in a thing called subtext?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think his reaction is really indicative of the words he's saying? Do you really think Paul is angry for all the reasons he's saying?
In this case, yes.
Subtextually, what is being hardcore implied?
That he should have searched.
So close to explicitly
That he
stated.
should have thought of his family not going on an adventure.
No. Is it the only importance? The importance are not the words. They're not the justifications or the reasons that he's saying. The importance, the weight of the conversation isn't about the justifications. It's about the blame. He blames his son for their family not being together. This extrapolates out to all of his conscious reasoning, unconscious reasoning. The only way you should ever be mad at someone about this is if they could have prevented it in the first place. The only thing to be mad about in terms of their adventure is that they're actually having fun. None of these things are actually true, are good faith interpretation. None of them are normal interpretations.
I can agree with you that
it is absolutely subtextual that he's blaming his son for the event.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
I literally think that you're adding context that's not there.
Yeah, because that's what subtext is.
Because if he did, he would have been mad at him right at the jump.
He is.
He's not.
Yes.
No, he's not.
How much you want to bet?
I'm willing to. I don't know what I'm willing to bet. I don't want to bet because I don't have nothing to fucking bet.
We're not gonna bet, but we're gonna settle this. We'll be back in a second.
Oh my fucking god! All right, fucking watch it.
I need to see this scene to know if I'm right or wrong. It is absolutely anger,
dude. It's not anger. That's not anger.
It is absolutely. Anger.
I will give you that once when the switch in his eyes happens, that's when he starts getting angry.
He is angry. Okay, my entire point isn't that he's angry at Rudius. He's not angry at Rudius. That's not where his anger comes from. He blames Rudius in this conversation. He's not angry at Rudius. He's angry from the get-go. He's mad from before the conversation starts. He's so angry. Every single citizen in the bar
this whole time you've been framing it like you've been mad at Rudius.
No, I was framing it that he blames Rudius. That he's projecting blame on Rudius.
You didn't say anything about projection. You literally would say, stop.
Okay.
No. Let me give you my interpretation.
What is it?
Stop. No. I'm going to give you my interpretation before you say anything. The way you said it to me, the way it sounded like me, that you said that Paul was blaming Rudius for the event and that. No projection, no other...
Hey. Nope. You don't get to say what I didn't say.
I'm saying I did. I'm not saying. I said.
You just agreed with me.
I didn't say blame. I said projection.
Bitch, what is blame?
Blame doesn't have to be projection, and there's other ways to project something other than blame.
Hold the fuck on. In all the context of what I was saying, he blames Rudius over something that he couldn't control. Do we agree on this? Do we agree we had both discussed this?
No. Oh, discussed this? Yeah. Agreed? No.
Okay. What do you mean agreed? No.
Paul does not blame him for something that he can't control, which was the event. You said that he blamed him in the event.
Doesn't have to be the fucking event. Does he blame him for anything he couldn't control, such as getting the messages he has no awareness of? Does he blame him for not going and finding his family that he doesn't know is missing?
Yes, I've already agreed with this.
No shit! So stop putting words in my mouth about a different thing.
What different thing? I'm
currently just saying he blames Rudius for shit that didn't happen. That's what I said, right?
But you also specify...
No, we're going right now. No. We're going right now. Right now, is that what I said?
Right now?
Yeah.
That he blamed... Okay,
that he blames Rudius for things Rudius had no control.
That's what you are saying.
Do you agree that at any point we agreed that had happened? For anything?
For anything, yes.
There we go. Do you know what that's called? That's called projection, Isaiah. We agreed he was projecting blame.
That wasn't your fucking argument before.
Isaiah? Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't. No. This is the first time you brought
Hey, I actually let you talk for a second. Hold on. Yes, it is.
Even though you've
just
already
because
talked
I
a lot,
don't use the word projection doesn't mean I'm not describing projection. When you blame someone for something they couldn't have done, you are projecting blame. I'm sorry that's not in your interpretation, but it is in my words.
Okay, well, you should have, if it's your interpretation, you should have at least explained that. I'm sorry.
You should have interpreted that.
No, I shouldn't have.
Why not?
I explained, because when I'm explaining that to you, I explained to you how I was fucking doing it.
Okay, then what would you call it? What do you call being blamed for something that you didn't do? Does that have a phrase or terminology in your head?
Could be a false accusation. Doesn't necessarily need to be projection.
Where do false accusations come from?
Here's the thing, though. I'm not denying that it isn't a form of projection. It just feels like you're moving shit now because you never brought the projection up. We had a whole thing on what he was being blamed
That's because I don't consider it not having been brought up. I didn't not bring up projection. I brought up projection without having to say a word that sounds academic and bullshit. I was trying to avoid the word projection.
I'm gonna be that guy. We've had enough arguments on this podcast and outside of the podcast. I would have expected you to at least have gone into detail. If we're going to the arguments that long,
we haven't gotten to the details of it yet, Isaiah.
Motherfucker, we were talking about the goddamn details.
We hadn't even gone past their first interaction. We hadn't gone past any
because we probably don't disagree about their second interaction. Do you disagree with anything on their second interaction?
How am I supposed to know? Apparently I need to go into extreme level of detail over our entire second interaction for me to discover if I disagree with any of the terms that you and I use.
I'm not saying... First of all...
You literally are.
First of all, I'm not saying extreme fucking detail.
Isaiah, you just attached yourself onto a word I said, hardcore hooked onto it, when it had no real importance. My use of the word projection doesn't change anything I've said. I will happily delete the word projection from the sentences going forward because it doesn't change the context of what I say.
I will also say the projection can come from him not searching from his family. Paul still never brings up the actual event, though.
Does he need to?
You said that.
We did not watch nearly enough of the scene to say he doesn't. I never said he starts with...
You're the one that started the podcast and we weren't done! You're the one that just started it randomly.
We were having an argument that needed to be part of the podcast.
Motherfucker! Oh my fucking god.
We absolutely did not watch enough of that scene. We watched 3 seconds of that scene, Isaiah.
I don't disagree, but why'd you start if we weren't finished?
Because the argument we were having about those 3 seconds was important to be on the podcast.
I don't give a fuck! Finish the whole thing before you start! Why are you starting shit without finishing it?
Alright. We won't start again until we finish. You're right. He at no point explicitly brings up any blame about him being able to prevent the collapse. I was reading into it. I was taking my knowledge and experience of projection and blame and totally associating it with just everything, kind of blanketly. Because typically that's what happens. You're right. He was only blaming Rudius for a bunch of other things he couldn't have prevented or done anything about. He was still projecting the blame entirely on Rudius, and the blame when it was being projected was on his own failings to do anything about it, and failings to find any of his wives or children.
I don't know. I don't disagree with that. I think that scene and then scenes.
Are you sure you don't disagree with the fact that I just said projection? He was projecting that blame. I'm going to be very specific. He was projecting that blame. Did you know he was projecting that? That blame was unwarranted and thus being projected upon someone that it shouldn't have been?
I think scenes previous from that show that as he falls later into it, If you didn't get it from that scene, the other scene explains it.
And I still maintain he was angry from the get-go. In fact, before the get-go, that anger has nothing to do with Rudius's presence. He's angry from the get-go because he's angry at himself. Literally, from before Rudius shows up on the scene. He is angry in every single scene. He is angry and disappointed.
Not angry in every different scene.
He is angry in every scene.
No.
He is angry in every scene himself. If you think for a second that man is not angry in every scene,
he's not.
You're just wrong.
He's disheveled. He's broken.
I'm sorry. Why? What makes people disheveled or broken? Okay. He's not just broken. Isn't a state in which you experience nothing. He's broken because he's constantly expressing his anger and disappointment.
Okay, so
self-doubt.
Okay, if I'm going to
every action he does, that's what being broken is.
If I'm going to be, I will be in this sense. I'm being kind of nitpicky because I will admit for the majority of that scene of like from their first interaction at the hideout to that moment where Rudy's is leaving the bar, like the majority, like 90% of it, he is mad. But the moment, 100%. Stop. The moment he sees him, and we had a third party confirm with me, agree with me, his face was shocked. He was shocked, if anything.
Yeah, I think you're both absolutely dumbfoundedly stupid for not seeing other emotions.
I kind of agree with him. The only anime you watch is One Piece, that you just can't tell phases. And when they're talking in the bar, I wouldn't call it anger. I don't know what I would exactly pinpoint it. It's not anger.
It is absolutely anger.
No, it's not anger. I think it wasn't.
I'm sorry, what is self-hatred established as if not a form of anger?
In that moment, I don't even think it's self-hatred. I want to say...
Are you kidding me?
I would say... because it doesn't feel like that. It feels like
it doesn't feel like he's internalized so much self-hatred and unable to deal with it so badly that he's projecting it on anyone he can around him.
What I got is that there is a moment. I think there is a moment of brief. What's the word I'm looking for? Not soul. Is solace the right? I don't think solace is the right word for this. But
you give solace to someone when you're pacifying them, when you're making them sated.
It's
the opposite.
Okay,
of
all right. Look at what I said. I was not right. Okay, all right. I do agree. I do appreciate that question. To me, it felt like more of like he's still tired, but it feels more of like it's like semi.
Where does his tire come from? The rest of his party is not.
It's not from anger.
It is absolutely
it's not from anger. It's not from anger.
Specifically.
Because he's sitting there with his son. He's just like, I'm just amazed that you survived. If for a moment, if
it's not positive, and it's not like that. It's not framed like that. You are putting emotion that was not in there.
I agree. It's not as energetic that I don't want to sound depressed, but it does not sound as energetic as that. It sounds way more tired. It
doesn't just not sound as energetic as that.
It doesn't sound angry.
It explicitly sounds defeated.
Defeated,
hollow.
Yeah.
Absolutely devoid of any joy.
No, it's not devoid of everything. It is tired. It is broken. It is disheveled. But there's
a streak of self-hatred.
There's like a hint of relief.
Depression.
There's no hint of relief. There's a hint of relief because he's like...
I completely disagree.
I think there's a hint of relief because he's sitting there and he's finally like at least found another member of his family.
I completely 100% disagree, and I think the framing agrees with my side.
No, it doesn't.
It's not
it doesn't.
Yes, it does. It's not just a side. It's not just you survived. It is explicitly focuses in on the lack of smile on his face.
Yeah,
it's not just a blank expression. It's not a 1,000-yard stare.
I'm not saying
it is this horridly depressed. He is borderline incredulous that he survived.
It's not anger though.
It's incredulity.
No, it's not incredulity.
Yes,
because it doesn't become like that until from them like once they first sit down. When he first sits down, he goes in with the assumption that Rudius did see his notes and did see that, and so that's what I think he assumes is coming to him. But once
I don't think he's thinking about that.
But once Rudius tells him that he didn't see his letters, that's when he gets kind of shocked and start getting angry, he's like, wait, you didn't see?
He doesn't start getting angry, he gets angrier.
No, he starts getting angry.
He starts projecting
he starts getting angry.
That's when he starts getting angry at Rudius. It's not when he starts getting angry.
No, that's when he starts getting angry at Rudius, but that's when he starts getting angry.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Okay, where the fuck do you think his look comes from?
It comes from being...
No.
Not anger. I'm not agreeing with you. I'm not agreeing with you. It's not anger. It's not anger.
What is the difference between him and the other people in the rescue party?
They're not as broken as he is.
Why not?
Because
he harbors extreme self-hatred. That's it. It's because of his special self-hatred, because of his special status, his special ability to lead and do.
But in those moments of him first seeing him and them sitting at the bar,
he has been submerged in self-hatred.
I can admit, when they're fighting, there's actually anger when they're fighting, when he doesn't realize it's Rudius.
I think the anger is a through line that never stops.
No.
It becomes a silent anger, it dies down. They get into a fight, the anger is clearly being expressed in their fight. He sees that it's his son. No joy is expressed. No joy whatsoever. It cuts to them at a bar.
No. There's no. I wouldn't use joy. Joy is not the word I would use.
I didn't say you did. I just said wasn't.
I know.
Why are you interrupting the no joy?
You've been interrupting me. Fuck you.
Yeah, but I've been interrupting you when I disagree. No! I'm interrupting to agree that there was no joy.
Okay, well, fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
There was no joy in the reunion. They cut to the next scene. There's no joy in the discovery that his son is alive. We cut even further forward. There's no joy in any response to hearing how his son survived. There's no joy ever. There's no anything ever except for the hate.
Yeah, there's not joy,
anger.
But
that's all that boils.
It's not joy, but the few moments where Rudius doesn't bring up the letters yet, it doesn't feel like anger either.
No,
it doesn't feel like anger.
It doesn't feel like anger, Rudius. It feels like self-hatred. It feels like he's ruminating. He's not seeing Rudius. He doesn't care about Rudius' presence. He's not even looking at Rudius' direction. He's looking up at the fucking wall.
If he didn't care about Rudius' presence, he wouldn't have been shocked.
He was shocked simply by it actually being Rudius. Something clicked in his head, and he realized he could blame Rudius.
I don't know. That's not what happened.
Oh, are you saying that nothing clicked in his head and that he didn't blame Rudius after that?
I think there was blame for Rudius, but in that moment, I don't think he realized he could blame Rudius. I don't think the moment he saw Rudius...
You don't think the moment he started blaming Rudius was the moment he realized he could blame Rudius?
No, absolutely not.
Explain that to me.
I think that he's just relieved to have a family member that he can finally see.
Where do you see that relief? Where?
In his voice when they're talking in the bar first.
I did not hear a single bit of relief in that voice.
It's not anger. It might be super tired. It's not anger.
It is self-hatred.
Because his thought is like, oh, if Rudius is here, then either he made it safe, or he couldn't find his family, or he's going to report something back to me. But when Rudius tells him that he didn't see the letters, that's when the tonal switch happens.
So you just added a bunch of shit that isn't there.
You're doing it too. You're making the assumption that he could blame his son.
No.
What the fuck is that?
First of all, we both agreed he blamed his son.
No, but you're saying from the jump. Stop. You're saying from the jump. I agree with you later on.
That's not what we're talking about right now.
You brought up the jump. You said in that moment he said, hold on, no.
Did I say from the jump this time, or did I say
yes?
Or were we talking about the moment where it switched?
Yes, no.
I'm about to punch you because you're fucking lying.
No, we brought up the moment in the fucking when they're first fighting, and he realized. You said from that moment he realized he.
I said we're not having that discussion.
You literally said that. You literally did. You literally did.
For the last fucking 10 minutes, we've been talking about the moment his eyes opened.
No, motherfucker.
We have not been talking about from the get-go. The last 10 minutes.
Motherfucker. Yes, we did because we brought up the shot thing, and you brought up that moment that he could blame his son. You want to bring up
exactly. You stated that correctly.
The shot. Point.
Yeah.
That was at the bar. That was at the hideout.
We're talking about the bar shot.
No, we're talking about the...
First of all, the scene you showed him of him being shocked was the bar scene of him being shocked.
No, that was the hideout, jackass.
Jackass, you're wrong.
That was the hideout. When he drops his sword and he's like, Rudius?
No, that's not the shock scene we're talking about.
Yes, it is.
We're talking about the scene where he turns at the bar.
We didn't show him
We have not discussed another shock scene.
No, we didn't show him that. We showed him the shock scene in the hideout.
Yeah, we did show him that, dude.
In the hideout.
We didn't show him the hideout scene.
We did show him the hideout scene.
Derek, were they fighting in the scene you saw?
No.
No one was fighting.
No one was fighting, but it was this. But like when they're in the hideout, that's when he first realizes that it's Rudius. So he drops his sword and he has face a shock.
Guess what? That's not what I was talking about. And in context, you should know that because we're talking about the moment where his eyes open. I'm not talking about whatever that is. I'm talking about the shock when his eyes open. When you said he was shocked.
Yeah,
that's the point I've been referencing as shock because that's the point you said he was shocked.
That's when the anger happens. I don't disagree with that. That's always been my claim. That has always been my claim. That when Rudius tells him that he did not get his letters, that's when the anger starts. That's when the switch happens. It's both shock and anger. He's like, what the fuck? You didn't see my letters? The fuck have you been doing this entire time?
Good job restating something I don't disagree with. That supports my current argument.
What's your current argument?
That he uses that point to start blaming Rudius.
Yeah, I never disagreed with that.
You did multiple times.
No, I was talking about the different.
I know you were, but thinking that you were disagreeing with this.
Okay,
you were.
No, because
I've never been talking about that moment.
No.
Really? If I ever reference that moment as being important?
If we're talking, doesn't matter. If we're on two different...
Yeah, it does. Stop. If I've never referenced it, why do you think I started referencing?
Stop. If we're talking about two different ways... If we're on two different...
Okay, hold on.
So, okay. I love the fact that I don't get to explain what I'm going to say, but go ahead.
I'm going to make a rule. We need to stop interrupting each other, both of us. So from now on, you talk, you finish a point, you motion to the other person. Deal?
Fine.
All right, go.
Okay, fine. If we're on two different wavelengths and we're talking about two separate scenes... I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm talking about something else completely different. And I can admit that might have been my fault, and I might have not been clear what I was talking about, but I'm not disagreeing with you with that, nor have I ever.
I don't remember us ever referencing the scene in the fucking post-fight as having been important at all. I don't remember us discussing it before we looked it up. I don't remember discussing it after we looked up. I have never at one point ever referenced that scene. Anytime we were talking about the shock scene, it was the one in the bar.
We literally started with that scene. I literally pushed it back to that scene. And it transitioned from the hideout to the bar from there.
I know when we started watching it, you push it back to that scene. I didn't. I was only looking at the bar scene. I only rewound to the bar scene. You wanted to push it back to that scene. I at no point ever discussed that part of the scene. Not on purpose. Not until we were actually covering just that part in that one intermission. That was the only point in which I ever discussed that part of the scene at all. Every other part of this main conversation has been in the bar. The only point I wanted to rewind to discuss. Because it was the only point I was interested in at all.
That whole context matters. It doesn't matter. That whole context from that moment he initially saw who Rudius was to when Rudius leaves is important. Regardless of what you think you want to talk about, that whole thing is important.
Like I said, to your side of things for later that we still haven't gotten to the actual thing, maybe I disagreed from the get-go that it was important to my side at all. I still, to this day, don't give a shit about it in any way whatsoever.
You're a fucking dumbass.
You're a fucking dumbass.
You're a fucking dumb piece of shit.
Alright, this bit of the argument is done. We're moving on.
Fine.
I think he was angry the whole time. He doesn't think he was angry the whole time. I'm autistic and still think I can recognize an emotion and tone set for the entire scene, and I think he's being more autistic than I am being.
No, you just don't understand tonal switch and verbal cues.
People in the comments, was he angry at himself the whole time? Was he experiencing intense self-hatred the whole time? Or did it only start after he noticed Rudius was missing the whole time and hadn't gotten his messages? You decide in the comments.
Sure.
So fucking retarded.
You're dumb.
You actually don't think he had self-hatred?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I agree.
Actually, it is. You did fight back on that. When I said he has been experiencing something literally every second on screen, you did disagree. You said that only so.
I think
every scene we see with him, he's experiencing self-hatred.
I think there's a moment when he's meeting Rudius in the beginning of the bar where that self-hatred is actually gone. But I think once...
yeah, that's where we disagree. I completely disagree. I don't think it could be gone. I think if you knew anything about significant trauma or self-hatred or even just extreme depression, you would know that's not possible. It's literally not possible. Like, he is extraordinarily hardcore, so unlikely he's not experiencing some kind of weird, intense, abnormal self-hatred on the level of severe depression, given the context of who he's with, people like him who've lost people and are on the search party, none of which are exhibiting the same mood, symptoms, or attitudes or dishevelment he is. It is absolutely being implied he has a severe, different thing going on that is constant in his life right now. Doesn't stop ever. It's there from the moment we see him, and it's there until the moment he actually turns around and has the true reunion with his son. It does not go away in the entire interim, and he's had it since before we saw him here.
I agree he had it for a moment, but I do think him seeing Rudy is... It goes away for a brief moment. I think that it goes away for a brief moment, but then it comes back.
Literally never goes away. Okay. So yeah, we just completely disagree on that.
Yeah.
Which is sad because it doesn't really fucking matter for what's ahead. So, he blames his son for a lot of shit.
Yeah.
He takes it out on his son by trying to physically assault his son. No,
he does not. I'm joking.
And not a single moment of anything he says or thinks is justified in any way or perspective. There's not a single perspective to justify any of it.
Justified, okay, yes. Justified, no. Yeah, I agree.
You do.
Yes.
So you don't think in any way, shape, or form that his reaction was understandable?
No.
Okay.
Wait, what do you mean by... Hold on. What do you mean by understandable?
Yeah, here's the justification.
No.
You tell me, what part of his reaction seemed understandable to you?
Okay, hold on.
Was any of it...
No, hold on. When I mean understandable, I mean more of like...
I don't think any human being in any scenario would have done what he did to their child. I think the only cases in which it would are extreme cases, and even this shouldn't have met those conditions, because I can't imagine any flowery interpretation of the tales his son told that would have been interpreted favorably enough to have caused it in any way, shape, or form.
No, yeah, okay, no, actually, I agree. Because my thing wasn't a justification. My thing was like, I get why you're angry, I get why you're upset, but there's no reason to hurt Rudius. There's just no reason. It's like, I get you're upset, I get you're angry, I get you've been through a lot, but like, there is genuinely no reason to blame Rudius for fucking anything.
Mm-hmm.
But even the more I think about it, it's like, no, you're an adult. Even if you are stressed, you, at the very least, should be happy your son is alive.
Yep.
Like, even at the end of the day, even if you
can't find joy in it,
yeah,
you'd find something. There'd be something there.
You'd have something there, not to the point to where like you are blaming him for everything. That is
in this moment, he is treating Rudius straight up like an adult.
Yeah, like he is treating him like he should
like not his son.
Yeah, not his son. Like he should have known, like a soldier kind of. And it's like no, he like and we get context, not context, but like the other dude said. He's a kid that literally got thrown in a fuck all, I don't know where the fuck I am place. And you expected him to, the first thing to think about is, where are other people? No.
Also, it's not brought up at all right there, but he's not in the Adventuring Guild.
No, he is.
Nope. It's a fake name. It's actually a fake name and fake title.
Okay. Oh.
He has never had the opportunity to check mail for himself, because he has never joined the Adventurers Guild, and without prior knowledge on it, which he clearly doesn't have, it was never taught to him.
Okay.
It's not reasonable to assume he knows to go to an adventurer's lodge to find mail for him in the first place.
Okay, that's okay. That
It
is
is clear he's not aware of that system in this.
okay. No, that is true. It is clear he is not
Mhm.
aware, but like
He's not involved in that teaching. He hasn't actually joined the guild properly at all. None of them have, actually. None of his party has.
I mean,
They're busy.
yes and
They're,
no.
they're,
Okay,
they're,
okay.
they're busy redeeming the reputation of an entire species of people.
Yeah, but he still has to like physically. Obviously, he's using an alias, and it's not a
Yeah, but the point is that none of his actual data is in the guild. They would not know to be like, oh, hi, blank of blank party. Here's the mail for Grudius Rayrat.
I mean, like
Grudius Greyrat.
I'm about to say it's like
None of his real information is in there,
okay, fine.
or like only his first name of information is in there.
Okay, fine. I can agree. I can agree with that. I wouldn't say he's not part of it, but like his information.
He isn't.
Yeah.
His Rudius Greyrat is not a member.
His alias is not him.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I can understand. Yeah, his alias.
His identity is not associated with.
Yeah. Okay, I can agree.
Adventurers
Yeah,
Guild.
his identity is not associated with the Adventurers Guild. At least not until
Later.
Yeah,
After this.
Yeah.
It's after this that he does do it, because at this point they essentially joined the rescue party. At this point they're essentially also guilded up, and they are going out to find people. That becomes the long-term goal of
No. I know that, but doesn't he? Oh no.
He has to
okay.
make alliances and build
Did he not do that?
experience to
I
do
thought
it.
he officially did it up north, or does he officially just disband?
Remember,
Yeah.
up north, he's building his solo reputation because he no longer has his party.
Yeah.
And he's never adventured with the guild as himself. Remember, he's starting from ground zero because that's when he starts being himself in order to gain the notoriety needed. Remember, his entire goal is to build the reputation, get the good boy reputation, the helpful guy reputation, in order to build a network of people that can identify him and identify others to his presence in regions, so that he can find people better.
Okay.
From this point on, he is using everything he has to be the.
No. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah.
Even his time at school, which we'll get to.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He is. Okay. Yeah.
He's literally building the connections and tools necessary in order to find people.
You're right. No, that literally was the point.
Yep.
The man god literally says that. It's like, just go. You'll just get connections.
Yeah, I promise you good things will happen.
Yeah, he's like, bro, just go. Just trust me. But that's season 2. We're bleeding into.
So, anyways, so we agree. There's no justifiable reason to punch out this kid.
No, okay, yeah.
To try punching out this kid. And even beyond that, Rudius is absolutely in his right to respond the way he does.
No. Even if I were to agree that like Paul wasn't just, Rudius is just in responding, because it's like, how the fuck am I supposed to? What the fuck?
The only point where the justification goes away is also the point where clearly the frontal lobe is disconnected. He's having an emotional response, and his little child fists are beating up on an invincible hero.
Yeah,
like it's literally not important.
Also, like, this also goes back into season 2, because you won't make that connection until after. But like all of his like peak mental like frustrations and breakdowns always come from him just being on top of someone and punching them in the face.
Yeah, kind of.
Like,
or someone being on top of him and then.
Okay, all right. Dirty bitch. Anyway.
Yeah. So after this, so that's a point of contention in the community, because when that episode came out, there was like just so many haters on both sides. There are people who were understandably angry at Rudius's father for reacting the way he did, just completely fucking unhinged. And there are a bunch of Rudius haters who were so excited to see Rudius just get emotionally crippled. Again.
That one is a people being like, yeah, fuck this man. It's just like,
they're like, oh yeah, Rudy's dad is right. That kid was like, dude, until the next episode where the reunification happens and like the haters had to go into hiding again, there was so much happiness on the Rudius hater side.
That feels a bit weird, because it feels like they're harping on from like, yeah, you get this old bastard. It's like, Now,
Like,
you're
why didn't he do things like that?
It's like, but
he's
now
got meta knowledge from outside the world.
But these people are now hating him for what I would assume is still his past, which feels weird now because it's like he's already built this life so much that like yes, the isekai stuff is still important because there's obviously the manga direction and we still don't see that, but like the more or less he is incorporated himself into this world, and you also make the argument of even if you. Despite what you say, at this point, he's gone through enough life experiences and met the and like he is literally very well traveled at this point to where it's just like
yeah, but he's well traveled because of his experiences in this world, not the previous world.
But
he had no life experience.
But what I mean is like he's done so much differently in that world. It feels disingenuous to keep comparing him.
I do kind of agree with this point, but. I think it's important when we say this point, we're not agreeing with people being like, he has too much life experience, he should be treated as an adult because of his past life.
Yeah.
It is explicitly because he has been an extraordinarily powerful child in extraordinarily horrible circumstance and come out of it alive.
Yeah, pretty much.
Barely alive in one case. Actually dead in one case. Yeah, he died. We're about to get there. We're about to get there.
Does he?
Yeah.
I mean, like,
so
I know he's in the bigger death, but like, I don't know if it's confirmed.
He died. Man. He died. He asked the god if he's dead. He's like,
that's not a yes. I'm sorry, that's not a yes.
I'm sorry, it's a yeah, but.
I mean, maybe he knew what was happening, so he's like, technically.
How much you want bet? How much you want bet? People consider it a death.
People probably.
He had no heart. By at least one definition, he was dead. Potentially two. We have no confirmation he had any brain activity. In fact, he shouldn't have. He was in that god space for a little while. I'm pretty sure the god was just buying Eris time to restitch his body back together.
But he's also oh shit.
Anyway. Let's move on. It's the end. We're getting to the end now.
Yeah.
This is the end game. This is the end game. The exploration side.
Wait. Do we? I don't mean to harp on Milas again, but do we want to talk about the second interaction and them making up?
It's so wonderful. I want people to experience it, but we should mention it. Yeah.
It is nice.
Okay.
It almost made me cry.
It made me tear up. I got a full-on tear. It dropped and everything.
I felt swell. Never dropped a tear though throughout this entire show.
I got
emotional
a tear for this
though.
Scene. I dropped a tear for this scene, and I dropped a tear for another scene in season 2.
Yeah, I will say watching this.
That was a happiness tear. So few. I think only 2 things, including this, have ever squeezed a happiness tear.
I will also say
that was impressive.
I will also say this made there was outside influence of this because I was watching this and I got a text from family members being like, "Hey, it's been a year." It's like, oh.
That's in reference. That's a year.
No, we don't have to bring it up. But I was just for context for you. It's just like.
Yeah. By the way, by this point, I had instigated my at that time brand spanking new official rule. Although it's a rule that was originally influenced by my first viewing of Kisniver that I'd been contemplating for years. That shows I truly like, I only watch when I haven't slept in a day. It's why it takes me so long to go through them now.
Which is so weird.
I'm emotionally primed when I haven't had enough sleep.
Yeah, but it feels so weird to
highlights those emotions so much.
But it feels so weird to emotionally prime yourself because then it feels a bit disingenuous.
Not at all. It's kind of like how people do things to be happy or to be sad on a daily basis.
Hand me that phone charger.
It's not a phone charger. It's a beard trimmer charger.
Oh, well, hand me the cable.
Okay. But keep talking.
Oh, wait, I don't have the charger on me.
God damn it. Dude.
I can pause and go grab one.
Yeah, I can pause. That's fine.
Hold here. How much we were yelling earlier, that 3 claps might not look like much more than a blip.
I mean, I can always focus.
Also, goddamn, it's 7:30.
This was going to be a long podcast. I'm sorry.
It has been exceptionally long.
Yeah, I know.
We're almost done. We're done.
No, yeah.
Hour and a half?
Huh?
2?
No.
Because we're going to Target. So you guys will stop.
It's like, I don't mind, but like, we're getting close, boys. There will be a point I'm like, no.
I will turn off the PC. I'll be a dick. I'm like, no.
No. We're
Here's your Phantom text.
Mine wasn't plugged in where I had it last, so here's Isaiah's weird fucked up thing.
Wait, was that one plugged into my phone?
No.
God damn it!
It actually was it supposed to be? Was your phone on there?
Yeah!
God damn, dude.
God fucking
What the fuck?
I can take it back if you don't want to use
cursed.
it. I can take it back if you don't want to use it.
What the fuck you do to this?
Listen, I've had it for a while now.
He molested that shit bad.
What, a day?
I can take it back if you don't want to use
I-
it.
Alright, sit down so we can finish this.
Okay.
Finish this, Sam. Quick.
Close the door. Actually,
there's a
that
fucking
cross
it's great.
No,
Good
that cross
crossbreeds.
I felt it.
I'll
when I
keep
was
it
saying
right there. Okay, so we got a poster image. So, all right. So we're back on.
This was so long.
So we're gonna finish it up. This has been so long. So much bullshit. So much yelling.
I knew this was gonna be such a long podcast.
Anyway.
Okay, go. Let's go.
Anyway. So, to finish up their adventure. Well, no, actually, first we're gonna make our positive note about the interaction with Dad.
Oh, bro, no, just go. Just go now.
I think it's a beautiful moment. The moment after this horrible, toxic moment with them is a beautiful, wonderful moment you all should experience, and it's one of the key reasons you should watch this whole fucking series. For moments like that.
Honestly, yeah, that moment is so well built up. It just
The expertise they did, the manipulation tactics they used to get that scene are so fantastic.
Yeah. It's really fucking good.
Alright. So they continue their adventure now with the newfound, very specific task of finding the lost people of their city. They start traveling through a mountain pass. They're gonna go north while their dad goes, I think, southeast or east or something.
No, their dad is still in Milas.
This isn't the point where they hear about the rumor about the mom possibly being someone?
Not yet.
Or about, I think, the maid mom being somewhere? Aren't they reunited?
Oh!
I swear to God, they reunited.
They
They do hear about it.
So we do, but not devolving from the actual story. They get sent to Milas.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, so there's a quick...
Oh, well.
The wind said no.
Yeah, the wind said go fuck yourself, okay.
There's a quick moment where... a quick second happy moment where... Is it both his sister and
Yes.
other yeah.
Yes.
Where at this point, so far, Rudius is reunited with his dad. His sister, who now hates him.
Yeah.
And that one is his full sister, not his half sister. And now also coming into town, his half sister,
Aisha,
and his stepmother Lillian. Stepmother / used to be maid.
Yeah. I still technically made, but
that's true. Despite also being in the way, like, they are straight up a throuple. They cover multiple times.
Yeah, no, yeah.
There's a brief, a good period early on where we get to see the wives just be so into each other and pushing Paul out into the cold. It's kind of
yeah, no, it's funny. I like it.
But it's anyway. They're a straight up throuple. And Paul is honestly in the least control over that relationship.
Oh yeah. Oh, there is a scene where you see like Rudy is like when they're still all together, just telling him like, "Dad, you need to be better. You need to clean." It's like, man, after he cheated, he lost so much power. He lost so much power in his family, which is fair. Yeah. You're gonna do
You're gonna do the maid.
Yeah.
Although to be fair, the maid also hardcore engineered that.
What?
So, I am pretty certain the maid accepts Paul's advances, specifically to get the protections of being one of his even if not
Oh
spouses.
no, that's not what happens. Literally, she goes on a monologue of being like, I just constantly heard them fuck so much, I just gave into my urges. She even is she doesn't want to, but
it's
she's
just urge.
yeah, and she's even.
Oh damn! I was giving her more credit.
Yeah, like she goes. She's like, there's one night where like she is just purposely bathing, and she's like, I actually feel fucking bad about it, and I'm willing to go out. Which is why when Rudy saves her, she's just like, oh thank God! I actually think I was gonna fucking die in the snow. Holy shit! Because remember, there's that long period of time where they're just like, I don't want to send her out, but I don't fucking want her here. Or like Zenith is just like, Jesus fucking Christ. I heard that.
Sounds like people. Okay. Anyway, in their adventures, last weird big plot thing happens. They run into another god's follower.
Oh, yeah, wait. Are we not going to talk about the Okay. This is a wink clip.
What's
Yo,
Yo.
here. I see that
Okay.
you guys are in the middle of something.
Oh shit!
We're trying
Wait.
to wrap it up. But
Oh shit! Wait. Will you do something?
D&D later, but
Oh shit! I didn't think of it. Okay. I'm not gonna lie. Since we're paused. We're not paused. Never mind. Well, pause
Okay,
it. I need to
pause.
Yeah,
Go.
pause it. I need to. You got this. Thank you, my man.
Take it down.
What's
I'm
that?
doing well,
I'm doing good.
Sweet.
Nice.
Excellent. Yeah, we just got the food. We're just gonna probably eat that and then continue and then we will.
Sweet. I need to check my Discord.
You still take me to Target.
Yes.
I don't give a fuck. You you didn't know this was happening, or you did not say this was happening, so.
I didn't know it was happening. We do have Sunday D&D, but I have not been checking our Discord. I'm this is not a not a two-way street of communication.
No.
I bet you the Discord has a bunch more. I don't have Alert 7 Discord, and I don't want them because
Go off every 5 seconds.
Go every second. Okay.
That's why I hate the Discord app. It's like, look, notify me if something is happening.
Can I just opt into? Yeah, can I opt into specific like chats? Is that a thing that's possible?
I wish.
Oh, there's a hell of a lot more in this chat. Oh, look. Who's Essie? Who's shits and giggles?
You have your PC on just a stool or something?
On a steel table. Yeah. A steel little
I'm
tiny
thinking of getting
coffee
one.
table.
What's the weight limit for these things?
These things?
Yeah.
Not much. Not much.
I was thinking of because I got offered a. I forget the specific monitor, but it's 144 hertz.
Oh
I
my lord.
Typically goes for $200. I was offered it for $100.
Nice.
And so
Dude,
I need a
especially
dual
that's good
monitor
color,
setup, but like the desk isn't big enough for a dual monitor and my PC on it. So I got to reposition where my PC is.
I do recommend this desk. It's easy to take apart.
I'm
and
stuck
pretty-
with Stuart's desk for now.
Yeah.
What you can do is extenders. Like these C clamps I've got on these have little desk extenders. You can get some more space by doing shit like that.
Unfortunately, it's like desks, like the entire side's desk, and then like one fat desk in the center.
That's
Clamps are like,
yeah.
can't use them.
Yeah.
I need to get like expensive special clamps, and at that point, it's like, Stuart, I'm gonna pay to have this desk moved into the fucking thing at this point.
Then side tables, you can get double-sided ones.
I was probably
recommend
gonna get a
those.
fucking nightstand, honestly, just because there's so much junk in it. Like, still, even though I clean them out, there's so much junk in the drawers. I don't use them
What would you be using it for?
to put up my PC on, so I can have the desk be 2
Oh,
hours.
then yeah, you need some more stuff. Yeah. That's what I originally got this for. This is a nightstand with some cubbies under it, a flat top, but also power management behind it.
Oh, all right.
It's got a multi-tap outlet, including I think three USB ports and I think four or six full-on power ports. All right, let's continue.
Yeah.
All right, what was the question? We're gonna talk about what first? I was gonna talk about the new god.
Did you want to talk about the interaction that they have in Shirone? With rescuing Lilian and Aisha.
Well,
It's not. I was saying it's not.
It's an
super-
adventure. It's it kind of in the adventure category.
Yeah, I guess the only important is to show that he's doing the search party thing,
Yep.
getting them back into the Lilies.
Yep.
I
Also, how wicked smart and conniving his other family members are.
Oh yeah. Wait. His other family members.
So I actually think you're wrong on the just pure like it was a moment of eros and she wanted to join in. I actually think it was a mixture of her being into it and also specifically manipulating her way into being permanently safe financially.
Ooh, wait. Ooh.
His stepmom, the maid,
Wait.
fucking his dad.
Oh well, no.
Yeah.
No,
If it was a moment of pure eros, she would have asked. Instead, she seduced.
bro. It's not. This is dude. This is another situation where you're adding.
I actually,
No.
in this case, I don't think I am because I actually think
We literally
she pushes her
no.
daughter to get closer to him as well because of the safety of the Grey Rat family. Because right now, her daughter is also being trained as a maid.
Yeah, but there's no pushing at all.
I
If
think
anything-
they're hardcore coded as being highly intelligent.
No, they
and
are.
manipulative.
They are smart, but not manipulative.
They are
No,
absolutely.
Lilia
Yeah.
literally explains her whole thing.
I know.
It's not. It's not.
Uh-huh.
It's not that. It's not that, Alex.
Two things can be true. I don't think they're that either.
I don't think she.
I
I,
think
don't
they
think
both
she was trying to hold her position in the Great Red family. I don't think that was the case. I genuinely really do not think that is it. I think you're looking a bit too hard in this. I actually think you're looking a bit too hard in this.
If you were to just have a moment of eros and you were knowledgeable in the ways to avoid baby production, would you typically do it if you didn't want to make a baby? You would.
You don't know.
So
You don't know if they didn't have condoms back then.
it's not about condoms.
You don't know if they
We do. We know. We know he came inside of her, dude.
Oh no! Okay, no, not like that. Not like that, you dick. Not like that, you dickwad.
Not like what?
But like you're saying like like the takes two to tango or some shit like that. I assume that's what.
Fuck, it takes two to tango. It takes one person, either person, to disengage.
Obviously, they wanted to fight. They wanted to fight. She wanted to fight.
And she wanted a kid.
I don't know she wanted a kid like that.
She seemed very happy to have one.
Not in that scene.
I don't know.
And you know what? I would say that. No, okay, that's not true. Not most people are happy to have a kid. But, like, I'm not gonna.
That's probably true, actually. Most people are happy to have a kid. Most people who are willing to keep their child are absolutely happy to have a kid. And most people that aren't happy to have a kid are not having a child. They're having an abortion.
Well.
Unless we want to go into that.
No! Because you already caused problems there. Anyways.
You did? When?
We'll explain later. I am not saying that on record. But, fucking, shut the fuck up. No. Lilia is not doing it in order to connive her way into the Grey Rat family or any shit like that. No. I
think you're underestimating a good girl.
I think you're
Anyways,
too much.
doesn't matter. The
shit.
adventure to get them back is just an adventure.
Okay,
it's just an adventure. We already covered the important part, which is that they're reunited. So they go. They encounter another god's apostate. A god that seems very antagonistic to, I think he's called the human god?
No, dragon god.
No. Our god.
He's called the man god.
The man god, that's it. The man god. So the dragon god seems very, 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 very hardcore not into the man god.
Yeah. like Loki, like on site, like do you know the man god?
Not Loki, just straight up.
Okay, straight up. Oh yeah, I totally know what. like
Rudius, very powerful mage. One of the most powerful people we've seen in the show. Technically, gets absolutely bodied, like a literal hole in his chest that big around. His whole heart gone, disintegrated.
Yeah. Although he even acknowledges Rudy's strength, because there is like a spell Rudy's cast to try to hit him. He's just like, oh, shit. He's like, I took a minute to dispel. Holy fuck.
And this starts another journey for Rudius of horrible trauma.
Oh man.
This gives him hardcore PTSD for the rest of the show.
Yeah.
Just period, as far as I can tell.
This is not great. Along with the other thing.
Yeah, we'll get to that too.
Yeah.
Thankfully there's a person with the apostate that manages to convince them to leave Rudius alone after killing him. So they just kind of disengage and the context seems like there's more to it than him just being a worshiper of the man god. Because there's some kind of shit between them.
Yeah.
And Eris is allowed to heal Rudius.
Oh no, the dragon god heals him.
Oh, the dragon god.
Yeah, because he mentioned
influence to heal Rudius.
Yeah, because Eris says it's like, he just came over and healed you. He's like, why the fuck would he do that? He just murked me.
And after a big interaction with the man god, the god that Rudius sees in his dreams,
that interaction also. Oh well, okay, yeah, no,
yeah, go.
Well, I was going to talk about the thing they find out through the man god.
Sure, yeah, hit it.
I was
just going to skip past it.
Oh well, like a big plot point, which was the whole point of the trip, is that like, oh yeah, the Superbs have a bad reputation. It's like, yes, no, kind of, sort of, like they're curses and like cursed child and
they are
children.
Cursed to have a bad reputation.
Yeah, because
of a thing they did in the past involving these gods.
Oh no, not even their actions. The whatever god that they had has a curse himself, and he imbued the spears and gave it to them.
Yeah,
but because of that, the curse still lingers on to this day. But yeah.
Well, kind of lingers. The point is that it's not lingering anymore.
Oh, it's fading away.
The curse is fading away, and that fade away has something to do with the man god's interventions through Rudius in some manner.
Sorry, you said fade away, and I was like,
So Rudius is now duly incentivized to continuing to do the man god's work, for reasons, even though he hates this guy. Because honestly, he just exists to neg and fuck with
Yeah.
Rudius. And then we get to the ending. Then we get to the ending.
This might be. I feel like this is another thing we're gonna argue about.
This is the last point of contention. This is the big one. This is the biggest speed bump. And thankfully, all the haters were mostly dead by this point. They stopped watching. They didn't continue. And they kind of got defeated with some of the happy shit earlier. But it didn't stop people from commenting on it.
Okay.
Did we just spoil it?
We've done it with literally everything else
That's
that has
true.
been in harsh contention.
Rudius and Eris fuck. Rudius and Eris fuck, and that's a big deal for them. And then in the night, Eris abandons Rudius, leaves him, and is like, nah, this relationship isn't going to happen.
Even though we get context of she does what it does. How do you feel about all that? I feel about all that.
I get it. I get it. It really, really sucks specifically for Rudius.
Would you have done it that way? I wouldn't.
Knowing the framing of them as adults, yes. It's not done because it's the happy thing to do or the right thing to do for these two developing characters. It's done because it's what a man would do in a relationship, and it specifically reinforces his role as the feminine side in this relationship specifically. His emasculation by Eris is a theme he needs to come around to and engage with. He is fucked and then abandoned like a one night stand when he is so hardcore emotionally invested, and he's abandoned, which plays specifically into his fear of abandonment. And his reaction, everything about his reaction is hardcore coded for classic effeminate reaction. He's in bed, barely eating, having this huge dramatic response, and it's understandable. Kid whose heart just got broken because he doesn't know how to interpret certain things right. But also because it's, as we see in the next big arc, it is explicitly a humongously, devastatingly emasculating experience for him.
That's not...
For him to reach his sexual peak and then immediately be faced with abandonment because he wasn't good enough.
I'm sorry, that's a season 2 thing.
That's what I'm referencing.
Yeah, I know.
He clearly feels very emasculated, and it sets back all of his progress on relationships, romantic relationships in particular.
I'm not gonna lie, that
lot.
is not the framing I would have thought of, but I appreciate it.
I'm
not gonna lie,
it's not the framing most people thought. Most people thought it's a 35-year-old man fucking a little girl.
Okay, well that, but I was talking to more about. Oh, listen, that people are gonna have their. I get it. I do.
We engaged with all of you at the beginning. You and I disagree if you're still at this point and still actually have the interpretation 35-year-old man fucked a kid. You're just not engaging with any of
I get it.
the ideas in this.
I get it. You do, because you can bring up multiple factors of just like how this world operates into adulthood and the fact of like, oh, they went through.
Screw operates in adulthood. They're kids who fucked each other.
Yeah,
that's still a normal thing.
Oh yeah,
it's a normal part of sexual progression, even in our life.
Well, no, I came in here more about to kind of hate on this because it was just like, you really just gonna leave mans with a note, not really explaining yourself? That's kind of. I get why you're not telling him, but what the fuck?
I mean, it makes sense. To her, it's obvious, right? to her, it's obvious there's a gulf between them. She feels like she's not enough for him and is going off on a journey to prove that she is enough for herself, as well as to actually catch up to him in her stated profession. And she feels like she can't do that when he's covering her ass all the time. And he doesn't know how to interpret this from what she said, because she didn't frame it that healthily, and views it as total abandonment because he wasn't enough for her. He like reverses its framing in his head. He's not enough, and their relationship isn't enough.
I'm not gonna lie, without the context, unless you're like, look. I mean, I guess you can look at it that way, but like, if that was me and I got that letter and I got told, oh yeah, I was told specifically not to tell you. That's my villain arc. I'm not gonna lie.
It's his depression arc.
Yeah, it's his depression arc. That's my villain arc. I'm going on. If I had that power, I'm like, alright, people are dying. I don't give a fuck about this world anymore. I'm throwing the biggest fireball at someone. I'm flooding the world. Oh, bro. I'm using that big ass fucking spell he has and just casting I'm casting a huge ass. Everyone's dying, bro. Ain't no fucking way.
So he's an incel mass shooter. In this scenario, he just framed himself as an incel mass shooter.
Okay, obviously I'm over exaggerating, but it would fuck me up pretty bad.
Yeah,
it would sit there like, what the. I'd probably go that same lane of what did I do wrong? I have no answers. What the actual fuck?
I'll be honest, I'd have a much healthier response than these. It would still feel bad, but it would feel bad like any breakup.
Oh no, yeah, it's any breakup, but like,
I wouldn't have the feelings of inadequacy he has.
Not okay. Well, no, it wouldn't be even accuracy in terms of performance. It would literally sit there. It's just like
it is partially tied to inadequacy for performance for him. It's
okay for him, yeah.
His internalization of this is that he did not perform well enough. He wasn't enough for her in any aspect. That night was the last thing. That's the context she leaves on. To him, this is hugely masculine because he got left after he had sex. He wasn't enough.
I think,
and he's tying those two things together.
No, that's
hardcore because he's a kid. Yeah, he's gonna.
Yeah, and even if we take his life into consideration, that's his first relationship. So.
Yeah, it is his first real romantic relationship. Sucks to suck.
Womp womp.
Womp womp.
This is a long fucking podcast, dude. I'm so
that was Mushoku Tensei. We covered the entire thing.
I don't even know.
We covered the most contentious shit, especially.
Oh my fucking god.
We didn't cover a lot of what actually happened because honestly, you should just go watch it.
Honestly,
we only really covered the shit that the internet hates.
Honestly, I don't even want to talk about the other thing that we might have found about. That alone.
What?
I do like the animation, but I get it not winning anytime.
I'm sorry, what?
I think if you compare it to everything else that came out that year, along with it has good
everything else that came out any of the years it was airing.
Yeah,
really?
Well, first of all, JJK. I'm taking JJK over Mushoku Tensei. I'm sorry. We'd have to look back at the other ones, but I'm taking JJK. Even if you would still take Mushoku, you can't hate me for picking JJK. Like that JJK balled every single episode. And while like Mushoku Tensei did in fact have moments where it was fucking immaculate animation, I don't think it just didn't have enough of it to impress. Which is like not a bad thing. It's just there's just more things that more things that caught the eye, honestly.
And Mushoku Tensei, there were that many things that were catching the eye much better.
I think the year before was Cyberpunk, and I'm gonna be that guy. That's completely on me. I'm a whore for Trigger. I'm a whore for Trigger. You can't convince me any other way.
You are a Trigger whore.
I'm a Trigger whore through and through. You give me a Trigger product, I will say it's the god. It's the next god disciple. There's no way of convincing me.
Mushoku Tensei, huh?
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, it is good. I think it is a situation of just constantly against big, aggressive, like it's just coming up against big aggressive hitters, and it's just not giving enough to win. It should have been nominated. It definitely should have been nominated. If it never was for animation, but like
it deserved way more nominations.
Oh, okay. It deserved way more nominations. I am mad it never got a Best Girl nomination. I'm mad it never got a Best Boy nomination. I'm mad it never got a. I'm mad that bitch wasn't in the cinematography category. Look at how some of them scenes. That made me so mad. That made me so angry. I understand.
Cinematography hasn't existed for long, right? That's
that was just
came out this year. Yeah.
I get the
still should have been nominated for it though.
I get the openings. I get it never been nominated for opening. I like
you get it never being nominated.
Opening sequence.
Yeah.
Opening song should have been nominated.
Yeah.
The song was good.
Yeah.
Sequence realistically changed too much and was more just a B-roll of what.
When did season 1 of this thing come out?
That's actually a good question.
When the fuck did season 1 part 1 come out?
That's a good question. I don't fucking know.
There's no way it was like pre 2022, right?
Actually, maybe. It may be.
Really?
Yeah. I think the parts come out every year. I don't think the parts come out like. No, the parts don't come out every year. Might have been it might have been 2023.
I think it must have been 2023.
I think it's 2023. Maybe. No, it might have been 2022. It might have been 2022.
You know what? There's an easier way to check.
What? Oh, just look up the Crunchyroll. Just look at the actual Crunchyroll awards, or look up when it came out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. When did it come out?
That's just the most recent one.
Oh, well, say season 1.
Damn, 2021.
Oh, shit. Oh, right, because 2022 is when you started.
What was that, spring 2021?
Jesus fucking Christ.
I was looking at 2023.
Jesus fucking Christ.
All right.
Jesus Christ,
what did it come out against? Weird, I don't see it in spring of 2021 here. Maybe winter.
This is a conversation we can have off the pod.
That's true.
We've spent too much. We need to sign off. We got things to do, people to take care of. So we should do that.
Love you all. It was nice seeing you. Bye bye.
Yeah, thank you for putting up for us for like God knows how fucking long.
Thank you for watching us in 5 parts or something.
It's gonna be 1 full part. It's just I have editing.
You guys started around 2:30.
What time is it?
8.
Oh my god.
Damn.
6 hours. It's almost like 6 hours. This is gonna be a long ass podcast. Jesus Christ. Oh man. All right, end this bitch. End this bitch. I'm done.